TV live on YouTube.com. And now on the Instagram. Okay. Everyone, benevolence, we are here. We're going live, and we're doing it for you. It's me, David Dimitri. We're live in color right here in the United States of America, doing it for you, whomever you be and wherever you're at home. Here, you want to check it out?
I trust you.
And so our guest is here today.
All right.
As you see his hat, Make America Great Again, representing full, real confidence, no low self-confidence, no straw man, real man, no imposter syndrome, the real American, bringing the real truth, law and order, righteousness, representing, and we're going to discuss the elections in 3 years after the elections. If Harris wins, what will we be dealing with throughout the United States and America's international affairs? Or if Donald Trump wins, what will we be dealing with after 3 years of him into his second presidency here in the United States and internationally? That's what we're going to discuss, and we're going to be touching and going in on a real education about how the immigration status right now, the playing field is really going down versus what it should be, not only according to the law, but according to humanity and morals. This is what we're doing today on David Dimitri Live in Color. We appreciate any of you and anybody that comes in and takes the time out to call in. We are going live now. Look right there on your screen. You could see the phone number to call with a nice cut picture of me modeling right there. That's David Dimitri. We keeping it real. Oh yeah, that's what we do. We feeling good about ourselves. Nadeem Mustafa is in the house, about to bring the truth and the real. We met. We're gonna discuss. He gonna introduce himself. Then we're gonna tell you how we met. I'm gonna tell you how we met, and then we're gonna go into the discussion. Everybody, hope you're gonna be feeling good, learning and calling in. If you agree or disagree, friend or friend of me, it doesn't matter. Call in, put it down, give your comments. And guess what? It is worth your time. You need to believe in yourself and not have imposter syndrome. You give so much time to social media streamers, to shows and personalities who you never get to call into. You never do. They're too crowded. They have too many followers. You can't get through. Well, this one you can. You need to build with us because we're all a family. Let's do it together. So let's go in. Nadeem Mustafa, but let's let him introduce himself.
Hey, David, and hello, all our listeners out there. My name is Nadeem Mustafa, and I live here out in Southern California. Lived here all my life, so very familiar with the California and the area out here. I've done a lot of international traveling all around the world, so I've been very, very fortunate to have been able to see lots of countries from all over Europe to all over Hong Kong, Taiwan, China, you name it. I've also traveled extensively in South America.
Wow, I want to go to China.
Latin American countries.
South America?
Absolutely.
You go to Peru?
Colombia, Panama.
Wow.
All that stuff.
I want to go to Panama.
You know, it's very interesting, and I think it's important because there's so many people here in this country that have never been out of the United States, and you just don't really have an idea of how other things happen, how things go, small little things that we appreciate. One real quick thing that comes here, to mind in China is you absolutely need to carry toilet paper with you. I hate to say that, but that's one thing, because you're going to get a surprise when you go to a public bathroom and there's no toilet paper. The second thing is, I'm sure a lot of you guys have not seen, and David, sorry for getting a little bit off the subject here.
No, it's
but,
all good.
You know, you ask for the public bathroom in China, and you get there, and there's basically a hole in the floor with, it's made out of porcelain, so it's actually like a toilet, but it's got little things you can go kind of put your feet into there, and you basically squat in the air and aim, and that's how you go. You know, I guess it may be more sanitary, whatever, for public bathroom, but if you've never, you know, taking the, you know what, while you're squatting down, you know, it makes you appreciate things. And
I grew up like that. I grew up in a city called the city of San Bernardino when I was a young child, and we lived in those old early 1900 houses.
Okay.
Let's just say that we had to step on the mouses when we woke up in the mornings. And when we sat down to eat, we had to shoo them away. Like, our toilet was like that. It was crazy.
Hey, there you go. You get some strong leg muscles and do some squats. So I guess that's the positive out of it. So that's good. But anyways, that gives you a little bit of background about myself, and
awesome.
Maybe a little bit later we can get a little bit more in detail.
And you are a realtor, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
That's
I'm in the
wonderful.
real estate industry.
So this is the importance. We have a professional here. Okay, he is a professional. He's just not somebody from the streets. He's someone that's reliable, tax-paying, independent entrepreneur, and a success at that. And he is a 100% Trump supporter, and he's here to not only tell you why, but to fill us in about a lot going on in our country and how our country relates with the rest of the world.
Absolutely. I think we're going to go ahead and do that. And one little thing that we skipped, and I don't know if you want me to cover a little bit, is how we met.
Oh, yeah. From your perspective, how did that go down?
Well, from my perspective, as you see, I'm wearing a Make America Great Again hat, and of course says 45 and 47 on one side, American flag on the other side, and says Trump against the back. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, Nadeem, you shouldn't wear that. You shouldn't wear that. 'Cause that's dangerous. You know, you're going to get your butt kicked, and you get this, and they're going to do this and this and that." And yeah, every once in a while, I get a little bit of that. But the ironic thing is, in the last couple of months, I get more positive feedback, very, very, very little negative feedback. Very, 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 very small.
That's great.
So I think that's a good thing, and it's a change, because what I want to do with it is just make it more normal. I just think, you know, a lot of people see Trump, oh my, you're a racist, you're this, you're that, and all the, you know, these things, you know, come out, and I don't believe that's true, and we'll get in that. Now, how I met David. I was up at the store, you know, walking around the store, and a lot of times, like I say, somebody approaches me, and I'm not sure, are they okay with the hat or are they not? Now, I'll be honest with you.
Right.
I have a man of color here that comes and approaches me, and I didn't know exactly, you know, the guy to watch, is he going to go ahead and punch me? What is he going to do? But of course, you know, we started talking about the hat and stuff, and I got positive comments. And like I say, honestly, that day, I went to the, you know, to the store just to go ahead and buy one thing, and was there probably less than half an hour, and I got 3 positive comments from people there in the store, and 0 negative comments. And to me, that's a win, because that's the way it should be. I mean,
it is.
The way I look at it, I mean, if you support Kamala,
I personally welcome the negative the conflicts that people come to me when they bring that up. If I'm in the right mood, if I'm just having a good time with my lady, I don't want that energy, because I'm not in that. I'm in a spiritual healing mood. Mm-hmm. But if I'm out and it's the middle of the week and I'm feeling rough, and somebody approaches me and, what are you standing with this and this and this, I take it and I go back and forth with them.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I mean, if you support, you know, the Democrats on the other side, well, great, you know. But can you, you know, of course, you know, tell me which are the things that you support, what you like about it, and you know, because I definitely know what I like about, you know, the conservative side, and I can definitely defend my policies and the reasons why. And I think that's the way they should be. You know, my parents came from communist countries, and I was always remember the stories when I was a little kid, and they'd say, "Oh, you had to be careful because you couldn't say things because they have they call chivatos in the corners, like spies, whatever. And if they hear something, they're going to tell the government, and you're going to get in trouble, and you have to hide, and you can't do anything." And that's what I felt here in the United States since 2016. You know, and the ironic,
like you're a reject, like you're somebody that's might become a target.
absolutely.
target.
But it's just you had to be hidden. Now the interesting thing is, going back to 2016. 2016, everybody was, oh my God, the MFer one. Which, you know, I don't know if we can cuss on here, but I'm not going to cuss. But everyone was surprised that Trump won. And why were they so surprised? Because anybody who took polls, nobody was able to say, oh yeah, I support Trump. It was just something that was under the radar, and everybody got surprised. You know, and that's why sometimes even the polls today, I don't know if I trust the polls. Because it's, I guess so many people are scared. I mean, you can go. Interesting. You think you should go out? You should go out into the mall, whatever. Just ask people. You know, oh, you know, Trump or Kamala, Trump or Kamala.
I'll do that starting tomorrow.
I think it's a good.
And I'll make sure I let you know because I'm going to be going live. Okay. Some of it will be live, some will be pre-recorded.
I would love to see it, and I would say I wouldn't even mind going with you. And if we go, I won't wear the hat, I won't wear anything because I don't want, you know, it's better just to go ahead and get a, you know, you're gonna call it the Trump hat and ask them exactly. So it can't be this. And I know now we're definitely getting a little bit off the subject here.
No, it's okay.
But I just think it's just interesting, without pressure from anybody, and just kind of see what the feedback is out there. But I think you're seeing more and more people really realize what's been happening and what the Democratic Party has been doing. And these are a lot of different topics that we can get into today. I think we have material here to talk for hours and hours and hours and days and days and days and days. And I just encourage you guys that you're listening to this. This, I feel, is going to be one of the most important elections of our lifetime.
Yes.
And why I feel that, we'll get into that also. But I definitely think it's very, very, very important.
Yes. Okay. And you know what, everyone? I want to apologize. I was just sending out. I was just so happy to get the opportunity to have this gentleman come on. I was just sending out to you and anyone else. You can go on my YouTube, David Dimitri Live in Color. I am going live right now with this gentleman. We're about to really get into it. By the way, everyone, the phone number is right there. Call in. Right there beneath me, right here. You see it? It says Dave 909-446-2388. 909-446-2388. By the way, there's about a 40-second delay. I'm speaking now. You will get that on Instagram, or if you're on my Instagram, David Dimitri on Instagram, or if you're on my YouTube, David Dimitri Live in Color on YouTube. That's the phone number. There's a delay on both, a 40-second delay. So he did an incredible job introducing them. We want to get to the subject. Let me remind you. The subject is, within 3 years, if Donald Trump wins, how will the country be? It is 2024. It is September, 2nd of the month of September. We're about to be, within 2 months, we're going to know who the next president is going to be, for sure. In 3 years of them being a president, if it's Harris, what will be the domestic scene like? And international relations between the United States and others. If Trump wins, what will the domestic scene be like? And in 3 years of his presidency, and the international affairs, how would that look with the United States and the rest of the world? Let's go into that, knowing, I just want to remember, have in mind that domestically, we're having a lot of different rifts going on with immigration. Let's go into that now, because we have a gentleman that is surely an expert in immigration. If you even just give him your background, your personal background, your ethnicity, and then he could tell you his mom's plight as a legal immigrant. I said it, a legal immigrant. Now, I had to survive it took me to do some things illegal growing up when I was a teenager to take care of my mom. My mom was blind. I had to do illegal things. So I'm not judging, but if you got a chance to do things legal, boy, that's a whole lot better than chancing getting put in those old prisons. Because when I grew up, they called the prison the booty house. And
well, we call it the pokey, and I don't want to say why they call it the pokey, but I think it's pretty similar.
Well, give them a little bit of your background on the immigration part.
All right. The background I'm going to go ahead and give you again, as you can see, well, as I said before, my mother's actually from Cuba. So she's obviously from a communist country. And The ironic thing is,
Keywords. I always tell you keywords. Look up communism. If you don't know what it is and you're young and you don't know, or you just been not educated, look up communism.
And at the end, talking about communism, we'll talk a little bit more about Cuba in a minute because it's really, really sad of what's happening over there. It's just actually devastating, sad. Go to YouTube and look at what Cuba is like today. And it really breaks my heart. But anyways, that's a different whole other subject. So anyways, my mother, like I said, was born in Cuba. And her whole entire family left and came to Miami, and then after Miami came out to Los Angeles area. Now, my mother was 15, 16 years old. She was the smallest one of all. Everybody, the entire family left Cuba, came to the United States. She was the last one to come, and when they went to bring her over to the United States, that's when they passed the embargo. When they passed the embargo, that's it. She was stuck in Cuba, at a 15 or 16-year-old girl, and was stuck there with no family, no nothing in Cuba. So, of course, her parents or whatever could have taken a boat, Key West to Cuba is 90 miles. They could have taken a boat, picked her up, brought her illegally. But no, they didn't do that. In order to bring her legally into the United States, she ended up having to fly over to Spain. Okay, now, you're like, oh, so what? You fly to Spain. But if you put yourself in her shoes, and I don't know 100% of the story, and I wish I did, but my mother's no longer with us. But at 16 years old, and remember 1962, it was not the same jets and the same stuff that we have now in technology and your cell phone, this and that. So, as a 16-year-old girl to have to go to Spain, live with some people from the church or whatever, strangers, and she had to be there for like a year and a half to be able to apply to come to the United States so she can come legally. Now, again, I don't know the details. I just know that she did have to go through a lot of struggles, and she never really wanted to tell us the details about it. But I know at 16 years old to go ahead and fly halfway across the world was not an easy thing to do. So I know that that's very, 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 very difficult to do that. So I definitely appreciate that. Going back just to the situation with Cuba, it's devastating, and I encourage everybody just go ahead and go to YouTube and look at Cuba situation today. There's a bunch of videos, and I mean it's basically stuck in the 1950s. For you to get food, to get anything, you have to have a little booklet, and they tell you exactly you get this much rice, this much potatoes, but basically nobody eats meat. It's horrific. And again, I'm not going to get into details on that.
And this is 2024.
This is 2024
the advent
today.
of the internet, and there's still areas that are stuck in like as if it's village.
Beyond that. And I've never been to Cuba, and I've always wanted to go because of my background, my heritage, and even the last couple of weeks and stuff, I think about it. And again, because I've traveled so much throughout the whole world, and I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, it's just sad. So I'd say even just spend 15 minutes, just look at a couple of videos of just these buildings are deteriorating, they're falling down, they're this or that. People are hungry, they're starving. And the only way that you move forward in Cuba basically is you're either part of the government.
Right.
Which is part of the Communist Party because, they live really, really, really good. And other than that, sadly and unfortunately, you either have to be a hustler, steal this, that, or even worse than that, and some of these girls, I can't judge, but you probably have to do the oldest profession in the world. Which again is sad.
Which leads us to human trafficking.
Well, human trafficking, correct, and the things that they have to do. And human trafficking, now when we get into the immigration stuff, I do have a lot of stories of current stuff coming through the Mexico border, because I do have friends and people that I know that have come from South America through the Darien Gap and all that stuff, and we can talk a little bit about that.
Well, please, let's do, because we're having a big issue, which is disparaging to me. Here in the United States, I had to move right here to this location we're at now in these particular apartments from a condominium that I owned. Now I'm renting. Sadly, because there was a cartel leader, a local leader in that area, and he was a miserable person. Whatever happened to him through the process of becoming who he was, by the time I moved, he lived beneath me. I lived in the loft above, and it wasn't even totally connected. It was enough room, but he was just the closest apartment to a condo to me, and his was the smaller one. Come to find out, this dude's distributing major cocaine and involved in human trafficking, all this stuff. All the men in the area had to be in submission and be punkified to him. I said that punkified And that's not in me. I'm one of them. You would have to really torment me for me to be submitting to you like as if you're a better man than me, you know. And so it was really rough living there. I had to leave. I took a financial fall just to get out of there and I had to, like I said, I'm no longer an owner anymore because of that. He threatened our lives, me, my woman, and people. Him and his people will be hostile. And I asked him, you know, we could just take it to around the corner. If you don't want me to fight you, I'll fight 2 or 3. They refused to fist fight. It was a total kill situation. We're going to kill you. And then he was a total racist against blacks. It took months for anyone black to visit me. Everybody that came there was Hispanic or white. All my Hispanic friends were afraid because of him. They figured out who he was. They're like, you got to get out of there, man. That dude's a big time guy. And so this is right here in the Inland Empire area, Southern California. That's how bad it is. I would say the majority of people that even come over here illegally are good people. But that was a situation where he was a bad guy, a real ruthless bad guy involved in killing and all that. So take it from there on where you were going to go with immigration and where we're at right now.
Well, there's all little subtopics we can talk about. Now we're talking about crime and about how a lot of good people come over. And I'm going to back up a little bit because one of the things that Trump got a lot of S for was when he said that there was rapists and murderers coming across the border. He said there's a lot of bad people coming across the border and assumed there's also good people too.
Yes, he did.
And people say, oh, that's racist.
We all say that. It's common sense.
The reality is, yes, there's bad people coming across the border. Now, just because you want to be so, oh my God, I don't want to go hurt anybody's feelings. Well, guess what? That's the reality of it.
It is the reality.
That's that. Now, I'll back up just a little bit. And my girlfriend currently right now lives in Caracas, Venezuela. And she lives in a very dangerous neighborhood.
Very beautiful woman.
Thank you very much.
Showing
Thank
me
you.
the picture.
Venezuelans they generally are. So, anyways, she lives in an area they call the cemetery or the cemetery, and it's very, very dangerous. That particular area is controlled by gang members. Even the police and the military will not enter that city. So you don't call 911 or anything like that because the police will not come because it is 100% run by the gang members. And now in the last about 8 months to the last year, she says, oh, my neighborhood has gotten so good. Now there's no more crime. There's no more nothing. And I asked her, I said, well, what do you mean there's no more crime? She says, no, all the gang members, they don't live here anymore. They went, and they left. And I'm like, what do you mean they left? She's like, I don't know. They're just not here anymore. So my question to you is... Suddenly they're gone.
They left their homes, their income, their hustle.
So where are they?
Yeah, as a group.
So where are they? So then now, ironically, you start, if you listen to some of Trump's but probably the last few months' speeches, he talks about the crime rate going down in Venezuela and all these Venezuelan gang members, coming over to the United States. And like I said, this is not because I heard it on the news, because a lot of times I feel a lot of people, my TV told me to because I listened to CNN and CNN said this. This is actual live information directly from Venezuela.
Yeah.
You're actually seeing it. And on top of that, you look at all the stuff that's happening in Colorado right now.
Very good.
Okay, and we'll talk about that more because that's a big point too. You look at the 2 police officers in Times Square that they were actually, beat up by the Venezuelan gang members. There's Lake and Riley, which again killed by a Venezuelan gang member that was here, who actually had an ankle bracelet on to track his movements. And yet, why do you have an ankle bracelet? Get his ass out of here.
Yeah.
Put him back on a plane and go back. Okay.
And you're speaking about the monster that killed the young lady?
Well, there's a couple. Lake and Riley was one that was killed. There was another girl who was she was like a medical student or whatever in Georgia, was also killed. And then there was a couple, probably a month or 2 months ago, it was, I think, a 12 or 13-year-old girl who was raped and murdered, 13 years old, by somebody who shouldn't be here. Now, the Biden administration says, oh, no, but these people, they're being vetted, and we're checking their background. I've got a question for you. How are they checking their background? Because one ironic thing that I'm going to tell you about, the United States and Venezuela have zero communication at all. If you go ahead and research this, go ahead and check and see if what I'm saying is true or not. The United States closed their embassy in Caracas, and Venezuela has closed all their embassies and all their consulates in the United States. So there is actually 0 consulates, 0 embassies in either country.
Hold on, hold on,
zero
hold on.
communication at all.
The United States and Venezuela don't even have consulates. I used to work in Pretoria, South Africa, when I studied and lived and taught in South Africa at the embassy, my friend. I did a public diplomacy.
There you go.
While I was down there, and so they gave me a rental car. They gave me a rental bi-monthly, and like I would have to drive from where I went to school and lived in Port Elizabeth, Ibai, all the way up to Pretoria. And I did public diplomacy, which means we directed with the higher ups on what the messages would be going out to the public in Southern Africa about the different issues coming up and the opportunities and the events we would have, et cetera, et cetera. And if a country don't have the constant and they don't have the, it's almost as if all lower level diplomacy is gone.
Correct.
All public communication is gone.
Yep. So there's very little.
But these monsters are getting here. That's not fair. These young, uneducated, and misguided and misfortunate young men that have turned to a life of crime are here somehow.
I'm going to take a step back really quick. Okay, because I'm going to I've been talking about these monsters of these Venezuelans, but I'm also going to defend.
It's not fair to call people monsters. It is.
No, yes, they are, because they're monsters.
Because some individuals amongst them are monsters, I'm sure.
But what I want to go ahead and say, again, I have a Venezuelan girlfriend. I'm very familiar with Venezuela. And I think and I feel Venezuela is an amazing country. It has very, very smart people. Very educated. Like I say, my girlfriend is actually an attorney. You know, she worked very, very hard to put herself through, through college and everything. Very, very sharp girl. Very good people in Venezuela. However, Venezuela really started going down the dumps 2017 when Maduro came in. I'm not going to get a whole history of Venezuela, but anyways, it really started and it got really ugly. All these Venezuelans started to go to Colombia, to Lima, Peru, to Ecuador, to all these countries because they didn't need visas or anything. And for all these years, like, oh my God, they have this xenophobia against these Venezuelans. Why? Because there was a couple a-holes who ruin it for everybody.
Okay.
And in the United States, I was very proud to tell people, oh, my girlfriend's Venezuelan. Oh, my God, she's beautiful. Because they are. I think there's more Venezuelan beauty queens than almost any other country, either Venezuelan or Colombian.
Yeah.
Because it's basically the same country.
I see online.
And they are stunning, stunning women.
Some fine women.
But it's just sad now that when I tell people my girlfriend's Venezuelan, it's like I'm like embarrassed.
Especially since the stuff that just came up.
Because of these bad apples. But what are these bad apples? The bad apples are coming here because they're doing the same exact thing that they did in Venezuela, and they think they can go ahead and do it here.
So this goes back to what he was saying just a couple of minutes ago, if you didn't hear it. He was saying that his girlfriend said all those guys disappeared that were basically they were like the gangs. They were the local hustlers and gangsters, thugs, etc. And criminal
and look it up.
And they all like, probably not each and every one of them, but a lot of them disappeared. So what he's pointing out is to what they did is migrate from wherever they were here to the United States.
Yeah.
You understand what that means, whoever you are, and it doesn't matter whether if you're with Harris or Trump. What that means is that law and order is being threatened, and that means American citizens are at threat.
The major gang that's coming over here is called Tren de Aragua.
Tren de Aragua.
Tren de Aragua.
Tren de Aragua.
Tren as in train de Aragua. Go ahead and Google that and research that Tren de Aragua. It's one of the biggest gangs down there. And right now, the biggest word out there is, hey, the border's open, come on over, and it just encourages more illegal immigration. It doesn't narrow it, it encourages it.
So even the gangs in Central America are being told and being allowed by their leadership to immigrate to the United States. And remember, they're all coming through the southern border.
Okay. Now, I'm going to change the subject a little bit on the country, if it's okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to talk a little bit about El Salvador. Okay, and maybe everybody's not familiar with El Salvador, but El Salvador was the murder capital of the entire world. More murders than Iraq, Afghanistan, any country. It was the murder capital of the world. You see an MS-13 and I forgot the name of the other gang, but the two major gangs down there, face tattoos, you name it. And I had one of my friends who had a girlfriend that was from there, her family. They went down there. He spent 2 weeks. He came back crying because he saw a bunch of different murders. And now, this is I'm talking about maybe 7-8 years ago. And he's probably gonna be listening. He knows what I'm talking about. But even when I fly to South America, I would look at flights that would stop at the airport just as a stopover. Yeah. And I'm like, BS. I don't even want to stop in El Salvador. Now, Google what's happening now with Bukele, which is the new president of El Salvador, and he did the largest prison in all of, I don't know, South America, United States, whatever, and basically put all these guys away.
And that was in which country?
In El Salvador.
El Salvador.
Yep. And Bukele's an interesting guy because one of the things that I would probably encourage you guys to do, and I should encourage you to go listen to different podcasts, but this is an interview that Bukele did with Tucker Carlson. It was really interesting. I think he's a great man, and then I was really surprised because Nayib Bukele actually speaks 100% English, but so many of the truths that he says is there. So what's happening now, all these gang members, they're rounding them up, putting them in prison, and they get a life sentence. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, that's inhumane, that's that. And
they know what them people did to get that.
Well, that's what Bukele says.
Right.
Bukele says, yeah. He says, but what was, before the population couldn't go on the streets, you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't go from city to city because you had to pay this guy to be able to cross this or whatever it was, or get murdered and this and that. He says, so he's a pretty tough guy. He's taken care of, and whether you agree the way he did it or didn't, but now it is one of the safest countries. The murder rate's nearly nothing. Yet, the other problem now is the other gang members that are still loose do not want to be in El Salvador because they know once they get rounded up, and these guys have face tattoos and everything and tattoos all over the place, so they know they're a gang member, they're going to be put in prison. And yes, I think they're just rounding people up.
That's the importance of law and order, everyone. That's what's being threatened here. And El Salvador is obviously doing a better job than Venezuela.
Yes, but the thing is, these Salvadoran gang members don't want to be in El Salvador because they know they're going to be rounded up. So a lot of them are moving to Mexico to becoming part of the cartel members in Mexico.
Oh,
the cartel guys, they love it.
What a terrible life. These people in Central America needs help.
Yep.
This is a horrible, what he's saying, you guys got to understand. There's practically no opportunity, obviously, for these people. So that these young kids and preteens and teenagers are just becoming a total life of hopelessness, violence, and when you could take the word and the label crime off of it. It's just like their path to life is just awful. It's just like you go back to the 90s when Liberia and Sierra Leone had that big rebel war going on. And it's like those teenagers and preteens had no hope. Life was just awful for them. Yeah. And that's what it seems like is going on. And now the United States is getting like the dirt end of it. We're getting the survival of the fittest, whoever killed whoever, so they can get on the truck to cross the border.
Yeah, and these gang members are getting pushed out of El Salvador because they know in El Salvador, whether they committed a crime or not, they're going to get rounded up. They're going to be put in prison.
Oh, I see there, and that makes sense.
Exactly. So it may be unfair, but if you're covered up in tats,
they
you're
know
in El Salvador,
who you are.
You're going to probably get put in prison anyway. So again, I'm not condoning it, but they fixed the problem. It is scary. But so what these gang members are doing, they're getting pushed into other countries. Some of them are staying into Mexico, and others, guess where they're going?
United States.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they can make it, which means some of them are killing other people too to be the ones to make it.
But it's really nice because if you look here and you go on your phone and you go to the CB1 app, it's an application for the customs where you can actually apply to go ahead and come over to the United States. Isn't that nice what the government did, what the Democrat government did?
But why aren't they using it?
They did. Oh, they are using it. They're using a concierge service, and the United States government is flying you directly into the United States.
Hold on. Hold on. Let's slow down. You're getting on an airplane. You're a criminal. You killed a couple of people to make it out of El Salvador. You killed a couple of people to make it out of Venezuela. Now you're getting on an airplane, eating it up, drinking it up, planning it up. You get to America. You get to do what you want. Be committing crimes. Nobody's paying any attention to you. You're in New York City, or maybe you crawl over the border into Texas, New Mexico, or California.
And I got a better question for you. Who's paying for that airplane flight?
Sounds like the American citizens
I'm going to tell you who's paying for it. That person over there watching me right now, you're paying for that flight. Okay, and remember, these Venezuelan gang members, they're not being vetted. They're not being checked. They're just flying directly in. Now, Go to Google right now and go ahead and look at the parole. It's called the parole for the U.S. Customs, and then just put U.S. Customs parole for Venezuela. They just opened it up a couple of days ago, the parole system, where all you have to do is apply, and you get your visa and everything, work permits and everything, and you're able to fly in directly. And again, don't take my word for it.
And this is from Venezuela?
It's
or anywhere Central America?
It goes Venezuela, Cuba, Haiti. I think it was like 4 countries or 5 countries. I'm not sure exactly, but I know Venezuela definitely is one of them. But it's, again, the same thing. All you do is you go and you apply, and you get a visa, you get an airplane ticket, you get everything to come to the United States.
Wow.
Man.
Wow.
Now, beyond that, you get to New York City, and what do you get? Oh, you get a 5-star hotel room.
5-star hotel.
Paid. Okay.
Hold on, a food card with thousands of dollars.
I was getting to that because at first they were feeding them. They were feeding the Venezuelans or whatever it is, or whatever ethnicity you wanted. Oh no, but they didn't like that because they wanted to eat arepas because they're used to eating the arepas in the morning and they weren't feeding them that traditional food. So they all got mad. So what did? They gave them EBT cards.
Wow, we have a caller calling in.
Absolutely.
Let's get prepared for that. Caller, we have Allison Grant. How you doing, Allie? All right. Can you hold on just a second? Let me make sure everything's hooked up for you. All right. So how's it going? How are you doing? Okay. Hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Everybody, hold on, because I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So, what do you want to add to? Add your wisdom, your knowledge.
Talk about how these people from other countries can come to the U.S., like from Venezuela, Haiti, and Cuba, on the dime of U.S. And I know that New York has a program similar, right? But once they get to New York, like they'll give them housing, all this stuff, and they'll give them a plane ticket to anywhere that they want to go outside of New York. So I want to.
Wow, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, so I want to get your guys' perspective on that. And then, yeah, just really on that. I know you guys were talking about leaders before, and also want to get your guys' perspective on a leader from Iran. I can't think of his name. I'm trying to think about it while I was on hold.
Ahmadinejad, right?
Yeah.
The old leader? Well, he was, okay, we could talk about that, no problem. We could put a little dib in there. From Iran. Okay, thank you. That's all right. So what is your feelings about what's going on with the illegal immigrants in Chicago and New York getting so much free under the Democrats?
Yeah, I mean, under whoever, I think it's unfair. I think it's particularly unfair to people that are working, that are paying taxes, and that maybe need help and then cannot, or you're forced to pay. For example, I know there's a lot of immigrants that are illegal that get their school paid for free.
Yeah.
And
healthcare.
They didn't have
healthcare.
Or yeah, even healthcare. Whereas, you know, for if you're here and you're working, let's say you just fit into a pocket to where you're not the right age, you're not old enough, right, to collect, like, you know, the government provided, or you're not in the exact right income bracket down to the cents, you can't get it. Or even if you're actively a student,
right,
so you're struggling, you can't get a lot of things.
Right.
They're just like you're a student. I mean, being a student doesn't mean you just automatically get additional support, right? Especially if you have to pay some part in loans, still got to pay for housing and everything.
Right.
And you may not be working because you're in school. So I think it's unfair in that aspect. And then it's also unfair to the people that, you know, suffered and worked and built this country and hasn't seen any reprieve or reciprocity from that, namely like the Foundation of Black Americans. Like, we haven't done anything, but yet there's somehow money to give to all these people that are legal immigrants that may have not gotten, vetted to receive these things.
Yes. Great points. Thank you, Sister Allie. Gratitude. Thank you for calling in. Yeah. Queen Allie called in and dropped the bombs, the truth bombs. So how do you want to relate
Well,
with that? So
one
thank
of
you,
the things
Sister
that
Allie.
definitely hit the important part here in my heart, Allison, is the fact that right now, if you look at, there is a bill going through the California Senate right now that they want to go ahead and give down payment assistance of $125,000 to illegal immigrants.
That's a damn shame.
100. Oh, because they want them to have housing.
That is some
well,
serious
guess what?
bullshit. They sounds like they're replacing other members of the population.
Well,
that's
you
what it
said,
sounds
David,
like
I
to
think you
me.
told her earlier
Like
that
they're
you're-
replacing some other group.
You told me you're renting right now, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, don't you think you deserve $125,000 before some immigrant who hasn't paid taxes, hasn't done anything for their entire life?
Absolutely, I know I do.
That's unfair.
Yes.
I think that's just totally unfair.
Totally.
And that's why I'm saying, I know it's a hot topic, but it says, make America great again. We have to take care of our home first.
Yes.
Take care of us.
Yes.
Once you take care of yourself, then you can help others.
Absolutely. Now we're gonna go back into. In fact, he gets the bomb because that was the real. It was mind bending. It's not a laughing matter, but sometimes it is. You know why? Because it's cynical, and that's why you're hearing that laugh, because it's cynical. And that little throb you're hearing, that's because it's mind bending. So what it sounds like to me is that we're in a dire alarm situation. That's why y'all hearing that alarm. It's alarming what's going on, and what we have to realize is our lives are at threat. We're already facing World War III. We do not have time to be weak domestically here at home. What specific group is meant to be replaced by all these illegal immigrants because the prisons are already overloaded? It sounds like they are meant to be replacing another group or multiple groups. You understand? This is the issue, how deep it gets for me. Now we're going to get back into the how these immigration issues are affected by the policies of Harris. Everything that we just pointed out, everything that Nadeem has pointed out was Biden and Harris specific administrative policies. They did not exist prior to Biden and Harris. They came in here and said, we're giving housing, we're giving home loans at $150,000 to people we don't know their background, we don't know who they are, we don't know what they've done, but we know they got here illegally. And if you commit any crime, if you walk across the street in the wrong way, you're going to get ticketed as a United States tax-paying citizen. If you ride your bike down the street in the wrong way, illegal, you'll be taxed. But these people can come over and get anything. And it has nothing to do with them. This isn't personal. It got to do with how our government is oppressing us now. It's oppression. It's a slap in the face. It's an undermine, and it's wrong.
And absolutely. And I am a person, definitely, I like helping the less fortunate. I was always raised since I was a little kid. My father had his company in downtown LA right on 4th and Wall. And if you know, 5th and Wall is basically Skid Row, or at least what was Skid Row, because right now it's not that anymore, because Skid Row is entire LA now, because it's not just one or two streets. But I encourage everybody, if you see somebody on the other side of the street, that's begging for money, don't give them money, but say, hey, you want some food? Let me go buy you whatever you want. And I'll do it a lot of times. I'll have a couple extra bucks, and that's all I have. And guess what? You know what? It'll come back, but just, help them out. But in order to help out other people, you need to take care of your home first, your family first, and then once you're good, then you can help other people. But with all this illegal immigration, basically we are becoming that same country that they're running from. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and just take a little side note on something that really pisses me off a little bit, because housing is important to me right now. Right now, there's 2 big buildings that LA just did in downtown LA for the homeless, and great. They're working the homeless, and I don't know, they've collected billions and billions and billions of dollars, and they keep doing new propositions and everything and more money, and yet the homeless population doesn't go down. Now, these 2 buildings that they did, I'm not sure the amount, but probably a couple hundred of condos for the homeless. Each condo cost $600,000 to build.
Wow.
Now,
Wow.
would you love to get a free $600,000 condo to live?
Not only that, I would know what to do with it. I would know what to do with it.
Okay, but yet you have somebody who's homeless, and okay, great, you're homeless, you put them in there. The only thing I feel is that encourages homelessness, because then everybody, I want to be homeless too. Get a free condo. I mean, wouldn't you like to get a free condo for your $600,000 condo?
I'm not about to go homeless.
No, but I'm not saying homeless, but if they're going to give you a $600,000 condo,
I know,
that's got
you
a
can
gym,
fake homeless.
it's got a meditation
you can fake
thing.
homeless.
Absolutely.
Or if you got a group of you that have snuck over here, you can get a couple of them that are off the radar and get them to get the house, because everybody else is going to come
that's
live
what I'm
in
saying.
it.
That encourages homelessness. It doesn't solve it.
Woo-wee! Man, that's deep, because it's 500 of you. Some of you could put your names down requesting for the EBT. Some of you could say, yeah, we do have a home, and get whatever's giving free from the California or Texas or New Mexico government for you do having a home. And then the cousins and uncles or aunties or teenagers that you want to apply for that home loan or for that free home because they were homeless, you can have them. Meanwhile, everybody's getting a new home. But how about those poor African Americans? They're not getting shit but put in jail.
Absolutely.
Homeless. What happened? Donald Trump did a policy to go after solving the homelessness of African Americans specifically throughout the country. Biden and them, they kind of stayed in it. I'm not going to say they pulled it off, but under Biden and Trump, the levels of homelessness of African Americans went up under both of their presidencies. So what we're looking at is Donald Trump, before Biden, took what Obama had with the homelessness and stuck with it. But Biden and them switched it up a little, which caused African American homelessness to become worse. But then they're giving all this free. Now everybody knows African American are historically the most poor people in the country because of what happened. Not just slavery, but the Jim Crow and the economic disparities. So I'm using that to show that there are groups in this country that need help, not just African Americans. And there are, like his mother, plenty of legal immigrants that sacrifice for years, don't get paid as good, don't get education as much. I say that everything we complained about in the early 2000s up to like 2010, we complained about legal immigrants getting so much. We did. But now we're complaining about the illegal immigrants getting so much. How about we just go back to what we complained about with the legal immigrants getting, and just say that's enough? Because this is complete neglect, benign neglect against the taxpaying American and entrepreneur and government working, private industry working American citizens. The whole citizenry is losing. And yet it is the Biden and Harris ticket administration and regime that is pushing this. So I ask you, who are they intending to replace but the African Americans? You got an African American populace that's only 13% of the whole nation, but there's 60% of the prisons throughout the whole country. Make sense of that. make sense of that, which means they have to be the populace that's meant to be replaced. Yet they're an extreme level of the talent. For their population amount, the African Americans, their talent and contribution is off the Richter scale. Look at the Olympics alone. They're bringing nothing but golds. And small business is off the hook. I worked at the Census Bureau headquarters and did numbers. And I had to do this research. I know about this. In Suitland, Maryland. That's right where I work. So back to this gentleman. We're going to get back to the, because there's too many legal immigrants contributing, solving problems. And there's plenty of good illegal immigrants. But that's not good enough. That's not an excuse for this benign neglect and this wrongful distribution of resources, Harris and Biden. And Trump got a lot of bullshit I don't like, and I do believe Donald Trump inherently is a racist against blacks and American natives. I do. But I believe Biden is too. Hey, so it's bullshit excuse. There's wrong what's going on with this whole immigration thing because it's financial and it's economically wrong.
You're right. A lot of passion there. So I saw that. I can see the passion there. So that's good. And I go back to the same thing. I think it's very important to remember there's a difference between legal immigration and illegal immigration. Because CNN, you're never going to hear the word illegal immigration. You're going to say whatever words they use. They'll use immigrants, they'll use this, newcomers, they'll use all these different words, but they will never use the word illegal immigration. Well, guess what? We have laws in the United States. Why don't we follow them? And if you don't like the immigration laws, guess what? Change them.
Change them.
Okay? But should we just not or pick and choose which laws we want to go ahead and follow, which ones we want to do and don't do? No. If we don't like the laws, we have Congress change it, not just because, I feel they want more voters and they want these, illegal people to go ahead and come. They got numbers now, 10, 11, 12 million to as high as 20 million new people in the last 4 years that are bigger than most major, a lot of even states in the whole entire United States.
Yeah.
Of people that are going to be, future Democratic voters. And I think that's the reason. The only thing they want to do is stay in power and,
wow,
give these handouts because that's what they're doing. And I'm telling you, especially the younger people, you think you're getting free stuff from the government? No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're paying for it. And I feel that they want you to become dependent on the government. And want to go ahead and
the
have
welfare mentality.
Absolutely. And like I say, it's great having all these stuff, but it's better to be able to, support yourself and be able to,
Absolutely. This gentleman has dropped a bomb, boom, and it's mind-bending that, because this is redundant for our age group, this was already said 40 years ago, 30 years ago. This welfare thing just isn't the thing. You don't want to get stuck on the welfare thing. And it's sad what's going on with the blacks, they used to say, and the poor whites and the Hispanics and the poor Asians. And so, because that was the lesson, right? And so we're going to have to go right now. We're going to cut that short and go into our other subject. Gratitude for you all being here. We thank you for being here. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate you so much. This gentleman has came in, Nadeem Mustafa, bringing so many truths. He gave you so much different insight, looking even to directly through people he's communicating with on his phone even now, right there in Venezuela, telling you how this whole plan is communicated with from the United States down there. So there's a communication of the poor and criminal from Central America, South America, all the way up to the United States on what they should be doing and how they're going to do it. We went all the way into that. We went into what the cons of what Biden and Harris are doing with this immigration and how its finances is a big issue because they're giving finances and they're giving breaks in crime to these people. Meanwhile, we're all getting the bull slammed on us and we're going to jail for any old thing we do. Not only that, our tax-paying dollars are going to these people so they can live it up. Then I explain how there's so many of them that some of them could be applying for this freebie, this other can be getting this free, other this free, and they're all illegally here. And there's never no criminalization of them. But everything we do that's criminal, we're gonna pay. So it's too much bullshit. It's almost just like some people say Trump should be disqualified because he's a felon. Well, she should, and Biden, they should be disqualified because they're financially and economically, and by throwing away law and order.
So, and we'll talk about those felonies in a minute, because now you hit one of my subjects here.
Okay, well, we're going to have to go into the 3 year. We're going to look to the future now. We're about to do some projection work. In 3 years, where will the country look like domestically and internationally if Harris wins? What do you think?
Well,
again,
I can tell
in
you.
3 years, if Harris wins, in 3 years, and what would that be, 2027? What will the country domestically look like, and what will the international affairs look like?
Well, I can tell you what I think, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to tell you the actual facts. And what are the actual facts? Is look what has happened in the last 3.5 years that we've already had. We look at the inflation rate. Inflation rate totally is up about 20 something percent. Gas prices. How are your gas prices?
Whoa,
Okay? I know double or more. And that's they're teasing us because if you remember, gas prices, at least here in California, we're up to $7 a gallon. $7 a gallon?
I'm riding a bike as much as possible nowadays.
Now, one sad thing that I was looking at, because I'm familiar with this, is current rents right now. The rents are insane.
Insane.
You guys that are out there, if you're renting an apartment, look, right now, I'm going to encourage you, go to Zillow.com right now, put whatever city you're in, and put rental properties and sort. It will shock you the amount. I just did that this morning here. We're in Rancho Cucamonga right now.
Right.
I mean, you got rents $8,000 a month, $9,000, $6,000, $5,000. And I'm saying, yeah, $8,000 is a nice house, but for $9,000 a month, you know what kind of money you got to be making to be able to afford a rent for that, which is basically throwing your money away.
Basically.
You know, it's insane. I'm not even going to ask what what rent you pay here, but I know if you just look, and like I say, whatever city you're in, go to Zillow, just put rental properties and look and see what's out there. I know at least at here, even a little one-bedroom apartment, $2,200, $2,400, $2,500 for a one-bedroom. That's just absolutely insane.
That is insane.
Now, if you want to buy something, it's the same thing. Any condo is $500,000, $600,000. Any basic. Oh, I got $1 million house. You know what that is? That's nothing, because any house right now, at least in Southern California, is $1 million. $1 million house is nothing special right now. Now, you add the $1 million price to the current interest rates right now that are 7 plus whatever. It's astronomical payments. Mm-hmm. You go to electricity bill. I got an electricity bill for $800 last month, and my house is not that big. $800.
Damn.
I could not believe it. It was just insane.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, so you look at food prices, go to McDonald's. It's funny, go to McDonald's. I got the app right here. You can go ahead and see. I'll go to the app, and it's got the dollar menu. Oh, as a matter of fact, I'm going to do this because this is one of my favorite things. You're going to go ahead and see it here. Let me go to my dollar menu, because if you have the McDonald's app, it's still here.
So it sounds like if Harris, are you suggesting that as Harris become the president within 3 years, there's going to be mass home insecurity and food insecurity?
I'm going to say this because
food insecurity and home insecurity.
Harris says, "Oh, that's it. I will fix it on day one. I will do this on day one, and I will fix the middle class on day one."
That's impossible.
No,
Nobody could do that.
I got a better
day
question.
one.
I got a better question for you. What the hell have you been doing for the past 1,300 and something else days? Why does she have to wait till day one?
Damn.
Isn't she in office right now?
Damn.
Okay, but yet your TV tells you, and your TV convinces you that, oh yes, she's going to do change, she's going to do this. The only change you're going to get is a damn change that's left in your pocket if you're lucky, because all it's doing is costing you money. I don't know about you guys, but I can't afford 4 more years of this crap.
Now I'm a political atheist. I've expressed myself, and it's pretty clear that I'm not fond of Biden and Harris. But I do have to play the devil's advocate because that's my job. We haven't got anyone to call in to oppose you yet. And the gentleman that was going to be here couldn't make it. He's a Democrat, and he's staunch against Trump. I'm going to send you the link to a recording me and him did. We debated. So
And I welcome.
I was the. We went back and forth. I'm gonna send you that, but I want to say something I think he would say, and that is, Biden and Trump's employment rate is better than Trump's was during his legacy. But this is the catch to that. Donald Trump inherited what? A pandemic and a huge shutdown.
Yeah. The other thing I'll tell you this much,
So, which means, how can you really judge him if there was no normacy and stability?
Well,
we had what, a year and a half of everything being shut down.
Yeah.
Trump had that, so you can't really compare.
My question to you is: were you better off on the 4 years of Trump or these 3.5 or 4 years of Biden?
You can't say. This is from my heart. You can't say because Trump got a bad hand. Trump got a pandemic where everything was shut down for damn near 2 years. And then after that, it was like this stayed only open for this long and then it shut back down. And I'm talking about government entities, not just private. So when they try to say Biden did this much and the Biden and Harris administration did this much better than that, really, we can't really tell because you might have better demographic numbers. That's because everything was open and everything was opportune. Under Trump, everything was shut down. So you can't really compare. That's the sad thing. So there's no real debate to me when it comes to that. And remember, I do stats. I do stats.
All right. The only stat that I know and I can do is when I walk into the market. And like I was telling you earlier, I walked into Stater Brothers yesterday with my hat on, and I told you I got a couple good compliments because of the hat. So I know. But look at your bill when you walk in. I walked just to buy a couple of things, and I left. It was $82. Man, $82. I used to have a big old shopping cart full of stuff.
Like the store where we met?
Stater Brothers.
Oh, Stater Brothers, yeah.
Yeah, just basic groceries. Look at your grocery bill. Go eat. Go to Denny's. And you go to Denny's, a breakfast at Denny's right now is $16, $17.
So we got inflation under Biden and Harris, and that has
it's incredible inflation.
So, and that has absolutely nothing to do with anything other than their extreme level of printing pseudo finance.
Well, I think that's part of it, but the other part of it is day one, Biden basically shut down the oil industry, and he said no fracking, no this, no that, and he was going to go ahead and shut it down.
But he should have did that incrementally.
Well, no,
it shouldn't have been overnight.
I don't think so. I believe.
Even what I'm saying is, if you do anything like that, I'm not saying he should have did it at all. But if you do anything like that, it would damage. It'll cause huge damage if you do it all overnight.
I agree. But what I think needs to be done, and this is the problem that I have, is I hate that you're forced. You have to have an electric car. Now, are electric cars nice? Yeah, they are. I don't happen to have one because I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Okay, they're more expensive. I don't have it because I don't like the electric car for a lot of different reasons. Yet, I think if you want an electric car, go buy an electric car. The problem I have is you're forced to do it, and that's what I don't like. I think it should be an open market, and if you want to do electric cars, you want to do stuff for the environment, well, guess what? Build the infrastructure first.
So you're saying within 3 years, oh, wow, you're right. In 3 years, that's going to kick in.
Once the infrastructure is in,
oh, my, California's going to be a friggin' mess, man.
Now, remember I told you I got $800 electric bill.
And that's all Democrat. That's Newsom.
$800 electric bill last month, and I don't have an electric car. Can you imagine if I had an electric car with my electric bill with me? And then the other day,
the economy can't handle that type of change.
I don't know where they're listening to us from, but at least I'm going to speak for Southern California. They come on the radio, oh, don't wash your clothes between 3 and 7 o'clock and turn off your air conditioning. You know what? Out here in the Inland Empire, it's been 105. I'm not turning off my air conditioning.
Exactly.
But they want to avoid brownouts.
We got the AC on right now. We have to. And I got lighting equipment going on.
But they want to avoid brownouts, go ahead and turn off all your electric. But then they want everybody 100% to be electric cars. Come on, does that make sense to you?
Not at all, man.
That's what I'm saying. You need to build the infrastructure, build the power, and then...
You're right. They haven't even fixed the problems we have now.
That's what I'm saying.
And then look at all of the homeless going on around the whole country, not just California. A lot that goes on in California where there's good or bad spreads. So let me tell you people something. I don't mean to interrupt this gentleman's great serenade, but I have to tell you, the bomb is dropped. Colorado, Chicago, Detroit, New York,
San
the rest
Francisco.
of you, all those immigrant issues you're having right now with Mexicans and Venezuelans here in California, we're used to it. We've been used to it, especially the black African Americans, because the majority of us here are not doing so good over the last since World War II. We're not the middle class. We were financially the lower class. So we had to deal with the immigrants coming in, whether they were legal or illegal, in any pros or cons. That's what I'm saying. The rest of you in the country are catching up to California. Guess what? As California, how they're unhealthily and untimely forcing everything to go electric, no more cars with gas. Do you realize what that's saying? That's insane. Everything around us here in California is gas. I have a gas stove. They are beat shitting their ass. They setting us up for sabotage. So the rest of the country, you're going to get it next. At least that's what it seems like, because everything else is already spreading to you that was already going on here. Now back to our co-host.
All right. Well, going back to the gas and stuff with California. California is insane because new construction right now, you cannot have a gas stove. You know, you can't have gas dryers, gas anything. Everything has to be electric. If you ever tried an electric dryer, it's less efficient. It's not as good. Even the electric ranges.
I know. It's like the strength of these different things just don't hit as strong as.
And like I said, I just think everybody should have a choice of what you want to do. This is supposed to be a free country. Let's go ahead and have a choice of what we want to do, you know. And going back to a little bit of the pandemic, I know you're talking about Trump and this and that. What I didn't like is, yes, I didn't like the forced lockdowns, and I didn't like the force that you had to take the vaccine. We had military people, first responders, police, everybody who were fired from their job because they didn't want to take the vaccine.
Okay, we can't say that word.
What is it?
We can't say that word. So I just say we can't say the V word.
Okay, I don't remember.
Don't even say V word. Just say
I am, okay.
and then I'll let them know what it is. Don't say that because the social media cut us.
Okay.
Okay? We can't say anything acquainted with that. We have to have other sayings for it. Okay?
Okay.
Because
write it down because I don't know which one.
Okay, I will. But just go when you want it. Just like as if you're saying the Arab word.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go continue on.
Anyways, like I say, I don't think it should be forced. You know, that you have to take a vaccine. You have to go ahead and do this. I asked you what the V word was because I wasn't sure what the word was. That I didn't understand which one. Now I get the word. Okay.
But you're giving me your opinion on something.
Yeah. And that's regardless.
He's giving
goes
his
back to
opinion
electric cars.
on something of the past. He's not talking about the current right now anyway. He's talking about he doesn't like what was done years ago.
To be forced to do that, and the same thing right now. I don't want to be forced to have an electric car. And if you know what, I like it, whatever's good, and you know, Elon Musk is doing some great things, some great cars, and that's fine if that works for you, and I might have one in the future. But right now, I'm just not ready for that, and I want to be able to.
That's just like people having to be forced to get specific type of insurances. You see, and what I seen the hoax in that, and I did a big paper on it. I actually did a big study at the time. I was in a master's degree. And I figured out through research, not through people's opinions and not through the media. I figured out what that was really all about. That was a way to get social services or to get welfare forms of medical coverage. That's what that whole thing Barack Obama established, was to get welfare or free medical coverage. It led to that because legally everyone has to have it if they're 16 years old or older, 14 years old or older.
And that's a whole other different subject that I don't know if we should probably get into right now.
Well, maybe you can come back on and we can talk about different things that have been legally forced upon us and who forced them on us.
I agree.
And what we think might be forced on us coming future. I think everybody's going to have to be medically linked to some form of AI. That's what I think is coming in the future. I think, and when I say medically, I mean biochemically. Yeah. Physically. But anyway, now with Trump, what in 3 years, in 2027, what will it look like if he wins the presidency? Let's go.
Again, I'm going to go ahead and go back to, we already know what it's like because we've already seen what he's done and what he's been able to accomplish. Now, one of the things that's very interesting is I feel that Trump did some amazing things, and yet he had everybody since day, well, not everybody, but the left completely against him. The minute that he was elected, it was, oh, that's it, impeachment, this, that, Maxine Waters, oh, if you see a Trump supporter, beat him up, throw him out of a restaurant, go do this, and all this hate and stuff, I think happened when Trump came into the office, and they fought him tooth and nail for everything, and yet he was still able to accomplish so many different things, renegotiate NAFTA, all these trade bills with China, and even with NATO. Why do we have to be the police officer for the entire world, and yet they're not paying their fair share? Now, right now they're putting the spin on it. Oh, yes, Trump is not defending the NATO countries, and he didn't say that. He just wants them to pay for their fair share. Why do we have to pay for everything?
Yeah.
I think it should be fair. And I'm
Absolutely.
not going to get into the subject because this is going to be a big subject too. But I'm going to talk about Ukraine.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ukraine, okay, great. We have to support Ukraine, but yet.
So what he's talking about in 3 years, what will it look like under Trump internationally? That's what he's talking about right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into if you agree with the Ukraine war or not. But yeah, I think the United States has paid $200 billion so far, and that Europe has done like $18 billion or something. Yet, Europe together, all the countries in Europe is the same size as the United States. It's in more interest for Europe to defend against Russia than us. We got an ocean between both of us, and yet we're paying, 20 times the dollar amount. I think Europe needs to step up, and that's what I think Trump needs to negotiate and say, hey, either you guys are going to put up the money or whatever, but that's not fair that we have to pay for everything. That's just what I feel. And then just going back to the beginning of the war, and again, I know we're jumping around a little bit, but in the beginning, Biden said, oh, well, it just depends if it's a little incursion or a big one or this, and that sounded weak. That's why I say peace through strength. If he'd said, hey, look, you MFers, if you guys are going to go ahead and invade, we're going to go ahead and defend Ukraine 100%, Russia might have thought twice about doing it. But yet, now that they're committed, they're not going to go back out. They're there. They're going to go ahead and do it. I just think that war would not have been there.
Okay, let's talk about, let me ask you a question. In 3 years, do you think Trump will have forced subsiding of the ongoing not only conflict, but military conflict going on between Ukraine and Russia? Do you think he could help subside the actual combat part of it?
Well, I go back
within
to
3 years.
I go back to the actual, walk the walk and talk the talk, like I say. In the 4 years of Trump, there was 0 new wars. He didn't start any new wars. Every other president that you can probably put in the last many years has started new wars.
All Democrats.
Okay. Some Republicans
Oh,
did
no,
too.
you're right. Yeah.
So that's that. So I'm not going to pick one or the other. But Trump, I think, is anti-war, where everything, oh, that's it, he's going to go and blow up everybody. No, he's not. And now he got a lot of crap because he says he wants the war to end. And if you remember the CNN interviewer, she says, oh, well, do you want Ukraine to win or not? And he says, I just want people to stop dying. Okay?
That's what you need to hear, is what he said.
That's what I need to hear. Now, I'm a parent. I have 2 boys. They're 21 and 24, young kids. And I look at these young kids. I don't care if they're Russian, they're Ukrainian, whatever. They're dying.
They are.
And these are kids of these parents. Again,
Not
Russian,
only are
whatever.
they dying, people need to understand war. I study international humanitarian law in Geneva and Davos. That's in Switzerland. And you have to understand, I actually studied not only international humanitarian law generally, I studied and I got certified for conflict management and mediation in international and domestic conflicts, which means I negotiate and try to stop ongoing wars, basically. And
Correct.
So I actually did some negotiations before. So what I feel Trump, he's in a better position. He has experience already, and he already has an ongoing very close relationship, even before he was the president, with Putin. He already had a relationship with Vladimir Putin. Now, Vladimir Putin doesn't base relationships like you and me would. Vladimir Putin has been born and raised in intelligence world and in complete loyalty to a sovereign regime. So his perspective on relationships are different, but yet clearly after the 4 years with Donald Trump in office, he would actually just trust Trump and make decisions based off of Trump's influence. So I personally believe that it would force the man that is the president of Ukraine and his advisors to sit down with Trump behind the scene and make some under the table and off the table agreements for public diplomacy and for behind the scene diplomacy, off the table diplomacy, and official diplomacy decisions and policies. And I think they would be in alignment with some requests from Putin, which by 2027, we will have a subsiding of armed conflict. Deaths would stop. Public health can be restored in affected areas and even segue into a full stoppage of the armed conflict. Yet, I would say NATO would be against it.
And I'll talk about that part in a minute here. But one important thing I want you to go ahead and realize, you look at, I think it's very important to have the communication with your enemies, wherever it is, to be able to have the communication, because it's the young kids that pay for it. These old guys send them to go and fight. Ooh. But the young kids and our kids are the ones that are paying for that. And once you're a little bit older and you have kids and whatever, that becomes, and if not, maybe even grandchildren are going to go ahead and fight that fight. And that's why I like Trump, that Trump says he wants to have people stop dying. He doesn't want the war. Yep. Yet he is very strong on having the military very strong. One other thing I think is interesting with Trump is if you look at North Korea, there has never, ever, ever, ever been a president that has visited North Korea. And then first of all, they started out, fighting back and forth where North Korea said that they had a nuclear button. And, Trump said, well, I have a bigger red button and my button works. And he started calling him, little rocket man and this and that. And at the end, they ended up being friends. And he actually visited North Korea. And I'm telling you, it takes some big brass, what Trump did, and you guys maybe forgot about it, but he actually walked over.
Oh yeah, border. I saw that.
Okay, and when you look at the other side, there was no Secret Service on the other side.
He just was trusted. He showed trust. They could have grabbed him. They showed
shot
trust.
Him. They could have killed him. They could
have. And guess what that led to? That led to the leader of North Korea trusting the leader of South Korea a couple of years ago, walking across the border with him. Okay. All because Trump showed him the way.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, because he's a negotiator. He negotiated that deal. Versus now, you're going to go ahead and go to Biden. And what does Biden? Do you think Biden calls up Putin and talks to him on the phone? He's sitting on the beach for the last 2 weeks.
He has people talk to his lower hands.
Whatever.
I studied diplomacy, remember?
He's not there negotiating. Now,
not at all.
That's Biden. Okay, now let's talk Kamala. Okay, do you think Kamala is negotiating with Kim Jong-un and Putin and all this bunch of stuff? Matter of fact, Kamala, since she got picked, I guess, for the Democratic Party, whatever, been 39 days. And you know how many interviews she had done? 0. She did the first one the other day. 39 days and 1 interview.
That would have never. Let me say that to all of you Democrats. You need to know something. Barack Obama would never have did that.
Nope. And that's
Barack Obama would have been all on them cameras, giving them briefs, updates, and even talking about things domestically going on. Kamala Harris is the vice president. She is the vice president. And I would say as a vice president, she did so low amount of communication with the public. And it has nothing to do with that I'm against Kamala Harris. I was just telling somebody I might vote for Kamala Harris. Can you believe that? Listen, why would I say that? So I'm not kissing his ass. Listen, the reason why, because I'm scared about the racism. Because black people, and I'm African American, whether I like it or not, we always get the shit into the stick. So this is the catch. There is no way out of it. it won't be no different whether Kamala win or Trump win. Racists are going to be racist.
I want to get back to that.
Trump didn't cause racism. Trump's racism was already there. So what I'm saying is I can't use that as a viable reason to not vote for Trump. Guess what? I believe Kamala Harris is rolling on the sexism thing. She's rolling on, I am born a certain sex. I am a woman, and it's our turn, women's time. Another thing I said, the reason why I will vote for Trump, for Kamala, is because my mother, who passed away in 2021, guess what? She would be upset with me if I didn't vote for Kamala Harris, because she wants to see a woman, and my mom was a woman of color. She would like to see her in presidency. And guess what? I get it. I would like to see a woman as president. Mexico has a president that's a woman, etc. Many countries have. Barbados,
David,
Jamaica.
I got to stop you for a minute here.
Okay.
I got to stop you here for a minute, okay? Let's say you're going to get on a plane. Okay, you're going to fly across the country. Do you want that pilot to be the best pilot there is? Or do you, oh no, I want a woman pilot just because it's diversity.
He just spoke for me.
Okay.
I was going there.
Right now, United
going there.
Airlines said they want 50%.
And that
of
goes
their
for
pilots.
race too. That goes for race too.
I'm going to get to the race. I'm going to get to the
That
race.
goes for race
because I
too.
think this is important.
I want the best leader.
And I'm going to touch all the subjects. So if you want to kill me here, go ahead and kill me. But I'm going to touch every single subject. Okay. You've got 50% of the pilots that they want the pilots to be black, female, whatever minority this. I think the pilot should be the best qualified person to be the pilot, not because it's X amount of thing. Now, I also think it kind of sucks for the black man that works his ass off, and he's the best, and he's a sharp, he's a smart man, and he ends up being a pilot, he ends up being a brain surgeon, he ends up being this whatever, and people look at him, oh no, it's just diversity, he got there for free. Well, that's not necessarily the truth. It's, I think I don't know whether it's the right word, downplays the hard work that a lot of people have done.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I'll tell you this much here, and I'm going to go back just really quickly. My father came to this country at 16, didn't speak English, no high school, no nothing. Got to New York, and I'm not going to get too much of the details, but he ended up working there in New York and had to lie and said he was 18 to be able to get a job. And he ended up opening up his own company, and he ended up having 300 employees. So from a man who didn't speak English, didn't have a high school education, didn't have anything, to have 300 employees, if you work your butt off, you can go ahead and do it, and it can be done.
Yeah.
So that's just what I'm saying is I just think sometimes, DEI, why is it? Oh, because she's a president. Because she's a woman.
Yeah.
First of all, she ran in 2019 against Biden, and I don't think there was 15 other candidates that ran, for the Democratic nomination. How many delegate votes did she get? Do you know?
Democratic.
Zero. She was the first of all the candidates. All
Democrats.
Yeah, of all the Democrats, she was the first one that dropped out. Of all of the candidates. So that means even the Democrats didn't like her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So then now, when the election came and Biden came to pick up the VP, why did he pick her? Was she the best?
I know she talked a lot of shit to him and made him look real bad.
I know she did. She said he was a racist, and he was this, he was that. Absolutely.
She put him on blast real hard, and then for him to choose her, it was looking like he did one of them. Somebody must have ordered her to be the one.
No. But why did he choose her?
It seems like he didn't. It sounds like somebody forced her on her.
Regardless, but she was forced because she was a woman and she was black.
Well, she didn't claim herself to be black.
Well,
she was born and raised with
Indian and Jamaican.
She was born and raised with just Americans.
Yeah, but it was still that play on that, so she got that because of there. So I get the same thing. I say, you want her to be a president because she fits these boxes?
Right.
And again, the same thing now. Do you think she's going to be able to negotiate with Putin? Do you think she's going to be able to negotiate with President Xi?
To answer your question in a devil advocate way, I believe that when it comes to she has so lack of interest, and I said interest. She has a lack of interest and lack of experience in dealing with international affairs directly. I believe that she's going to be an echo chamber, whatever her inside advisors are telling her to say and telling her to do.
A puppet.
Yes, she's
Okay, because now you look at negotiating. I said 39 days.
Which is dangerous.
Absolutely.
Especially dealing with somebody like Putin at this time.
Okay.
Because he might go as far as to choose nuclear to settle the matter.
Absolutely.
And then the president of Ukraine is a real hothead nutcase.
Okay.
He might want to go nuclear.
And remember also this, she did that one interview with ABC, whoever it was, which was a easy interview for her, and yet she had to take her little emotional support puppy because she couldn't do it alone. She had to bring Walls over with her to sit there with her. Here's this woman, she got this big old guy sitting next to her. She couldn't even do it alone. Trump never runs away from any interview, and all these interviews are very, very biased against him, and he'll upfront anybody, and he'll as a matter of fact, right now you can go look at, he's got policy issues right now. He's got a rally coming up here in a couple of days. He's got 3 more rallies coming up that's just talking about policy. Now, I'm going to ask you this. What are Kamala Harris's policies?
I know.
What are they? What is she going to do? Okay. Now, my question to my friends who want to vote for Kamala and want to support her, my question to you is, and if you want to call in and let me know, what is your favorite thing that Kamala has done in the last 3.5 years?
And I'm going to ask them that. What is the favorite? Woo-wee, that's a fire question.
I am very, very, very certain that we're not going to get any callers because you can't answer that. Or if I ask you, why are you going to vote for Kamala? One of two things. You're going to say, oh, she's a woman, or because of Trump. But there's no reason why, policy-wise, why you can't say. Because she didn't lower the prices. She hasn't done anything. She hasn't done anything for...
Well,
okay, now...
I was going to say in regards to the... she was a letdown when it came to the housing part, because Barack Obama was a lifesaver for the housing thing. What Barack Obama did was make it possible. He established him and his regime or administration pushed and got legislation pushed that allowed for people that were poor to get housing and people that were middle class to get it. And then when Trump went in, he changed it up a little so that the taxing would be different, this and this, and it kind of like hurt the more poorer people. It helped the middle class.
How did he do that?
But then Biden and Harris claimed that they were going to fix that. They didn't. They didn't do anything. They never got to it. And then she did. Why did she not do that? Because right now she's claiming she's going to do all this for housing. Well, you claim you would do that when you were running for vice president, and you didn't do it. That's my thing. My thing is people need housing, and Democrats are always claiming they're going to help with that. But and one person that did do it was Barack Obama. He did something about it. Clinton didn't. Biden didn't, and Harris didn't. But my point is, if she's claiming she's going to do that, I don't think by 2027 she would have done it. I just don't think she's going to get around to it. And I think it'll be multiple things she's claiming she's going to do this she won't get around to. But Trump, I feel, will definitely, and people, I know you don't want to because you're American, you're here. You want, and you should be more prioritized with what's going on domestically unless you're a high level in the government. But international affairs need to get fixed. They need to end that going on in Russia, because I don't know if you know all the things that Russia provides for the United States and the world at broad when it comes to food and different things, and liquid gas, and that's not being provided any longer. Germany, for one, almost froze over because of this war. There's a lot going on that you don't see because the international stance that the Democrats are taking in their approach. Now, one thing with Trump that I disagree with is that tariffs are not going to be able to solve the problem when it comes to Russia. But I don't believe that's the only thing that Trump is going to do. That's one thing he keeps saying he's going to do. You know, that's not going to solve the problem with China either. Because, see, they have a strategy after 50 years, 60 years of fighting, dealing with tariffs from the United States. Russia and China have learned how to get around it, and in fact to benefit from tariffs. But I know for a fact Trump is going to do more than tariffs. And sadly, I think whatever Harris regime wants to do in regards to Russia and the war, I don't think it's gonna avoid a full-blown World War III. I think it's gonna push us closer to it. I believe it's actually gonna instigate a real bad situation with Iran and Israel if the Democrats, which are Harris right now, get in the presidency. I say by 2027, I think that some form of nuclear bomb will be used between either Israel or Iran if Harris becomes president. And that's what I believe, but I believe under Donald Trump, it will slow down. I'm not saying it's eventually not going to happen regardless who's the president. In fact, regardless who's the president, it's eventually going to happen. But I believe it will be sped up if Harris becomes the president. If Trump becomes president, while he's president, there will be no nuclear bombs used, regardless, anywhere on the planet. But I believe Israel or Iran, one of them are going to resort to use a nuclear bomb if Harris is the president.
Lots and lots of little individual subjects there, little things that I wanted to go ahead and talk about. But so it's a never-ending thing because the tariffs, and then of course we got into the. Let me go back to the tariffs. So what do you think the solution is with the tariffs? We have China now building huge auto factories in Mexico and bringing them in.
Not only that, they're off the hook.
Okay, so how do we combat that where we got factories closing here, moving to Mexico, and bringing things in? That
like
affects,
it or not, we need a little bit more government. And I
okay.
don't
So
mean
what's
handouts.
what's the solution?
I believe that we need to step in, and they need to call the head investors, the seed owners of all the stock. Not only call the representative CEOs of these huge corporations,
But
American
you think these guys care, or
need
they
to
care about the bottom dollar?
I believe, and I know for a fact, all they care about is the dollar. But what I'm saying is, if we step in where the government is allowed, they could do it where they do the negotiations under recordings. They don't have to immediately show the public the recordings. But if they record the lead negotiations, they don't have to record all the agreements, but the process of the negotiations they should record, so someday in the future they could show them to investigators, government. But I think the government should be allowed to come in and say, hey, if you are an American corporation, we need you to sit down they should only have power to cover where they're going to be manufacturing. That's it as an example.
Yeah, but that starts getting back into your socialism where you're controlling the company of where,
I know that's
where and what they need to do.
I
think the only solution, and like I said, I want you guys to understand, I'm not saying Trump is perfect. And not that you don't have to agree with every single one of the policies that that he has, but I think his heart's in the right place. And that with the tariffs, I have this argument with a bunch of different people because I come from a background where my parents had a factory, and I know what manufacturing is in the Orient and Mexico and other countries, well, I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole other conversation there. But we still need to be able to protect the American factories, the American workers, because it's not just the factories.
And that's whether they're here or if they're overseas.
Well, but if we have all the autos, all the manufacturing, everything done overseas, and we end up getting into war,
we're not no employees.
Well, not only employees, we're just a consumer type country.
Absolutely.
How are we going to build defense things? How are we going to build tanks? How are we going to build? So we need industry just for our well-being, and that's what I'm saying. And if you got a better solution, tell me what the solution is. I don't think it's to tell. You're not going to tell Ford, oh no, you know what? We don't care about your profit.
Our way to this solution.
No, it has to be a free market, and this is the way it is. Now, if you want to move your factory, then guess what? Yes. We're going to charge you the tariffs or whatever to go ahead and bring it in.
Well, one thing I'll say is Donald Trump has a lot more experience even before he was president in dealing with
He's a negotiator.
Not only that, he knows how the business legals.
And he's not scared.
Whereas
he's not scared
Harris
to negotiate.
is basically dependent on other people telling her how things work and what this. So basically, she's just going to get calls, have chummy conversations, and agree to agree. So she's gonna be calling, okay, come in, say it's so nice to meet you guys finally in person and this, and I'm going to sign a contract that my people negotiated. Whereas Trump, even if his people are the one negotiating, he gonna look at it and say, nah, I don't like this item line. Fix this item line.
Absolutely,
And
he's
in
a
fact,
businessman.
this item line need to say this and this and this. Whereas she wouldn't know what the fuck
Correct.
is going
Now,
on. You know what I mean?
A big thing that a lot of people say, oh, yeah, but Trump has had 3 bankruptcies and this and that.
Yes, that means he learned the hard way.
No.
Why they're
Yes, but you
criticizing
have to
him.
go ahead and look at how many successes has he had.
Right.
Okay, what I tell my kids is you can never be scared to fail.
You're gonna always fail in business.
Correct.
And in sports.
And you need to look
and
at
in
the amount of successes that he's had, you know, and that's what I think is really, really important. Now, I go back to Kamala. How many businesses has she had? Let's go back to Biden. How many businesses does Biden have?
They're just government.
How many
people.
employees has he ever hired? You know, has he ever produced anything? Has he ever done anything? Biden's been, I don't know, 50-something years in politics. He's been getting money from the government. He's never actually had a real job or anything at all.
Absolutely.
And that's the business guy that you want negotiating these deals? Come
Right.
on. I want a mean.
But there's cons to getting somebody there's not just pros, there's cons to get someone that. But Trump already.
What's
but
the
we-
con? What's the con
but
of a
watch
negotiator?
This is the case.
The only con is he hurts your feelings.
Now, me playing the devil advocate right there.
I like that. Bring it on.
Now, but guess what? I already answered my own question to prove Trump good. Because what happens is Trump already did 4 years to learn how far he can go and how far he can't go when it comes to running things as a business.
Well-
So he has a better understanding now that experience is a motherfucker. Like, you can get in the ring. People wonder why this guy Floyd Mayweather, why Sugar Ray Robinson, why Sugar Ray Leonard, why Muhammad Ali, why Jack Dempsey, why these people were so unbeatable. It was because they had so much experience. They got their ass beat training. They got their ass beat the hard way. They had to learn the hard way. And not only the training, they went out under the lights and went through hell. So about the time they got to that big position, they already know how to deal it. And so Floyd Mayweather, he knows how to fight. He fought nothing but world champions after 6 months. He was fighting 3 matches a month, what no other professional in decades had did. Floyd Mayweather was fighting 3 in the 12-round era in the 90s. He started in 96. I remember he was fighting so much. I was watching him every Friday. He was fighting so many, and then all of a sudden he got a championship match in his first year. Within 9 months, he's already going for champion. That was unheard of. After that, all he fought was champions. He didn't fight backyard guys like all these other guys with millions of matches. He didn't need to have all the matches. He had to fight the best. So that's what Donald Trump has been doing, people. He's been fighting championship level shit from the beginning. That's the experience. Now, politically, yes, Harris has been a positioned figurehead.
Yeah.
She's used to being a position figurehead. She's good at that. And guess what she does to achieve that? She doesn't make public appearances. She doesn't get challenged because she just don't come out in the public. Now, I'm not putting her totally down because I like some of the stuff that African Americans don't like about her. I like the fact that she was a prosecutor. That shows that she's willing to be ruthless. I like ruthless leaders. That I like about her.
Yeah, but she's ruthless, and she put how many black men did she put in prison for smoking marijuana? And then she's joking that she smoked marijuana.
Yes, she's
That's
actually,
what you like?
She's full of shit.
Okay, then there you go. If I was a black man, I wouldn't like that because I don't think that's fair.
I'm the main target. Look at my
There
hair.
you go.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? I just figured out how not to get caught back in the days. Like she's. I also like that she works along lines with Republicans from the beginning. I like that
She tells you what you want to hear, and then that's not what she does.
In California
Okay,
she did.
That's what the politician.
In California
no.
she did.
Most politicians tell you what you want to hear, and then they do whatever the hell they want to.
I agree.
I'll tell you this much: Trump.
I agree.
He's going to tell you exactly what he's going to do,
And
he's going to do it. Okay, he's going to build a wall, he's going to do it. He's going to deport you, he's going to do it. He's going to do this, he's going to do it. He doesn't beat around the bush. He doesn't care. He doesn't care to go ahead and ruffle some feathers. And that's what my mother, who did vote for Trump, but she's, oh my God, Trump, oh, he's such a pig, the way he talks and this and that. Yeah, he is. He's from New York. He's going to tell you the stuff the way it is, whether you like it or not. Every
But guess what?
90% of
Another
every
thing
politician in the world,
devil
they're going to
advocate.
tell you, and then in the back they're going to be stabbing you.
Absolutely. And I think anybody that called in right now would have to agree with that when it comes to politicians. Whether you were with Harris or Trump, it doesn't matter. But I wanted to say this. Harris is going to push for more support for women and for children and for mothers.
Children.
Harris, I'm being a devil advocate. I'm not saying
I want to hear this.
I'm not saying that I totally agree with this, but I'm playing the devil
What you gonna do
advocate
for
until
children?
some of y'all call in. We have somebody I gotta say, the God is here. Peace and benevolence. The God, you know you guy, you stand God. That's right. Trump versus Harris when it comes to putting a focus on supporting women in need and policies that help women and children.
Like what?
I just believe that.
Like what?
I believe this is being the president. This is it. It doesn't matter whether it's a male or female when it comes to this. Guess why, people? It takes the president to take the time to talk to the lobbyists or the representatives or the Senate rep or the Congress rep or the governor that wants to push for more funding toward women in need.
All right.
So it doesn't mean that Kamala Harris is going to actually sit down with them women more. It just seems like she would, but that doesn't mean she actually is going to sit down with them women. It doesn't mean, because guess what? She's the president. She's not someone that can sit there and decide what legislation will be for putting more funding toward mothers in need. But I think a lot of you women that want to vote for her because you want to see a woman in place actually believe that she's going to put more policies and more finances to help you because you're women. That's not a fact. She already, because she's the president, has a buffer up. And she already has her day in, day out schedule made. So you think because she's a woman, she's going to be helping you more and helping mothers more. That's why I'm saying this as a devil advocate. So call in, whether you're male or female, and if you believe that Harris is going to be helping mothers more and do policies and support legislation that help mothers in need and whatnot, call in and say that. I don't think so. Or help. You think she's going to help black people? I don't. Like I say, I don't remember her being black. I'm not saying she's not.
You know what?
I'm black. I'm born and raised an African American. I'm born and raised in poverty in the city of San Bernardino of all places. So you know it was fucked up. Yeah. So, you know, I personally think she's mixed. Her dad's from Jamaica. So
all right. You know what?
He's not a black American.
To me, it doesn't matter if she's black, if she's white, if she's
I get
red,
it.
if she's.
I
I don't
get it.
care.
I agree.
The way I look at it is we're all Americans.
I get
okay,
it.
and that's the way.
I agree
That's
with
how
him.
we're going to get past the racism, whatever, and stop putting that little tag on it or whatever it is. So I'm not even going to go there. Let's just leave it alone. She's a woman. That's it. Because
she's a woman.
We do know how to define a woman, versus Democrats don't. But we'll leave that subject for a minute.
Well, back to what I was saying. Do you believe that Trump or her are going to treat women better?
Okay, let's just do an example. Okay, and I'm going to get to that point because you look at RFK. Okay, Kennedy. That's hardcore Democrat. Okay, what did they do? They pushed him out. They didn't let him do the primaries. They didn't let him do any debates. They didn't let him do anything. They shut him out. They did lawsuits not to get him onto the ballots in New York. He didn't get him on the ballot. So finally, he said, "Okay, that's it. I'm going to drop my campaign." What's the first thing that he did? He went to Kamala and says, "Hey, look, I want to come back. I want to support you, whatever. I want to do children's programs and children's health and this and that." And what did Kamala say? F you. Okay? And, we're all inclusive. We're bringing everybody together. They're not bringing everybody together. So what did he do? He went back to Trump, and he got to Trump, and he got together with Trump. Now he's supporting Trump, and they're putting policies and stuff to go ahead and help kids and stuff like that. She had the opportunities. They're right there in her hands. And that's what I'm saying. She talks the talk, but she doesn't walk the walk. Okay, because she tells you what she's going to do. Right now, she's got 1,374 days. You tell me, what has she done in 1,374 days? Call in.
Can devil advocate. I'm going to play the devil advocate.
Tell me, because I want to hear it.
I think she did a figurative role. What she did was give women of color and women a place within their archetypical consciousness.
I want women of color.
I know.
I want women of color to be strong because they're educated, because they are great, they're smart, not because of their color. I don't want them pushed forward because, oh, no, we have to have the token black person here because of this. I'm sorry. That's not the way it should be. It should be because you are the best. And the best should not be based on what color or what you are. It's just, you need to work hard for it. And I go back to the same thing. Is Kamala Harris the best the Democrats got?
I got something to say. I agree with you completely. Yet, her and Biden did one thing good that I think is good.
Hide.
That Supreme Court justice that they put in, she's the best at what she does as amongst the other women. I believe that she was the best person for that job. That African American woman they put in. I was just watching. I forgot why I can't remember her name.
The one that couldn't describe what a woman was?
Well, I think they're all having some sort of problem with that because of the gender thing.
I can explain to you what a woman is.
The gender thing. I would love you to. Because you know what? I think they should be able to define that. And you know what? That's how sad it is right now. That
That's how sad it is. That's exactly how sad it is.
Political correctness, because the LGBTQ thing going on, the evolution that's supposedly an evolution of civility is going on. The political correctness got it so that people can't even define. There's no acceptable definition. No general acceptable definition of a male
definition.
Or a man or a woman. There is between me and you, but for the general political correct, they can't even say, hey, a woman is what a woman is. That don't make no fucking sense.
In my view, you're a man. Okay, now, your sexual preference, I don't know. Honestly, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I do. I need to know if a man is, I'm not gay, I'm not bisexual, none of that. I need to just know that. I need to know that.
I don't care.
I do. I need to know that because if I'm around you coming to work, if I'm doing this and this, I want to be like, oh, what's up, man? And say something to offend that person. So I like when I see a woman that's a stud and she's a stud and she openly a stud. So what because she's a stud, I'm feeling that. I like that. I know that, and I see that in her. So I know how to address her and to deal with her. It's hard for me when I don't know a man is gay because I don't want to offend him, or a woman's a lesbian. I don't want to offend him in any way because I'm not really acquainted with that culture as much as I should be. So I really want to make sure that I'm respectable, and that's why I would like to know what people are. But I can I know how to check myself, and so if I know or not, you know what I'm saying. That's why I do feel like it's a little challenging. But right. I do like the record and the policies, and I agree with some that Supreme Court justice, that African American woman, that Black American, that foundational Black American woman. She has done great things, and I like the stances she has taken on a lot of financial things and financial laws and whatnot. And I like how she's doing her job, and I think they did a good decision putting her in there.
So we were talking about women, children, stuff like that. One other important thing I think that Trump did is the opportunity zones that he did.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely.
And that's something that was in 9,000 different cities, lower different tax rates, capital gains of 0% on these opportunity zones. And this definitely helps out the black people. Also, there was the black colleges that he put permanent funding in for black colleges.
Permanent
this
funding.
is the Democrats have been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, and every year they got to go back and back and back. And BS,
lying
and that's
and not showing up.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. I know we have different sites or whatever.
Well,
I don't see. I understand, but I just don't. And like I said, I'm not saying everybody's perfect, but I don't see that. Oh my God, Trump's a racist. Trump's a racist. And yet, before he was running as a president, he's taking pictures with.
I don't believe. Did I get to say I don't believe Donald Trump's a racist?
Oh, I thought
I believe that. I believe that Donald Trump, like any other human being, I don't believe prejudice and racism is the same thing. I have a very educated following. All these people here are right now that's on here are melanoid people. They're
Good.
people with melanin. They're extremely intelligent. These people teach me every day. If I get on, I learn something from by going on their social media every damn day. And I'm gonna tell you, for me, because I studied political economy and because I studied politics in Africa and in Europe, for me, Trump is a capitalist. There's a difference from a racist and a capitalist for me. Now, there's capitalists of all kinds. There's capitalists that were very dark-skinned people that sold other people that were dark-skinned into slavery. There were white people that were capitalists that sold white people into slavery. You understand? So for me, it's a capitalist thing. I believe Donald Trump also is a narcissist. But guess who else is a narcissist? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So that's why I have the stance I have, is because all of them have a case of narcissism. And let me tell you something about the importance of understanding what a narcissist is. My dad is such a narcissist, he's taken people's lives in front of me. My dad was a vicious, ruthless human being. None of your dads could add up to the ruthlessness of my dad. My dad was a mixed black American man, and he was ruthless. He was a ruthless man. And that's part of why I fear no human being. And part of why I had to battle with not becoming a narcissist. My dad left me to die and had no qualms about it. He left my brothers and sisters, brought all these different women to die and never had a care about it. You understand? He killed people with not a qualm about it. He did all kind of stuff, got people on crack cocaine, got people on drugs, and never cared. My dad would switch up on you and cut you up in a split second. Put a bullet through you in a split second and would disappear and not have a problem with what he's done. But at the same time, he was a good guy, great sense of humor, and lift your spirit, extremely intelligent. He just was a narcissist. So I understand that Donald Trump is a narcissist, but I also see the same thing in that racist ass Biden, and that selfish ass Harris. So they're all, and I'm a political atheist, everybody. I'm a complete political atheist. And I can explain why I am, and I can explain what that is. But my book, The Art of Political Atheism, is about to be released anyway. But they're all narcissists. And I just wanted to make that point. Now back to what we were saying.
All right. I don't know where we left off.
We left off with the difference of Trump. We're talking about the 3 years going in. The difference with Trump and the good. You're speaking of the good that he would do.
Yeah. I just think we've seen the example. It's not like you don't know.
Oh, Trump is also for the crypto. Everybody, Donald Trump is doing something unprecedented. You have to understand, and I suggest to all of you, Savannah, the God, the spiritual designer, you know what I'm saying, Rod Blackwell, all of you, you have to get into crypto. You have to start practicing it. Do it like it's a video game. Put a couple of bucks, put 20, put a couple of hundred. You don't have to put thousands into it, and start practicing it. It's going to make you feel better about yourself. It's going to get you're getting a new skill set in dealing with finances and money. Donald Trump is opening it up that the government is solidifying the value of our own, which is XRP, our own government, and he's going to empower our own crypto. And a lot of government finances, businesses can pay and receive payments through crypto. That's huge. That's major for different types of loans and different type of grants and different type of finances and different type of tax payments and tax write-offs.
Absolutely. Got to be open to new ideas and new
Donald
things.
Trump's for that.
Absolutely. And it's, again, he's the businessman. He's the businessman. But I just go back to Kamala. They don't say what their policies. Oh yeah, I'm going to do this and this and this. But how? They don't tell you.
Well,
Go to the website.
I personally believe, just to make it clear, that Kamala Harris is going to push for all these women in need and with children in need. She's going to create a lot. But I think she's going to damage African Americans by giving all these resources to illegal immigrants instead
They've
of
proven that
doing
already.
anything specific for African Americans. I want y'all to know that's where I stand on that one. All right.
I mean, they've proven it. It's like I say,
Proved. She proved
the
that
proofs of the pudding, as I say.
all of them. Barack
They're
Obama, all of them
doing
proved
that.
it.
They're doing that.
They proved it.
Earlier, we were talking about different cities and stuff and crimes and all these different cities.
Yes,
and I
yes.
remember years ago, San Francisco. Have you ever been to San Francisco?
Of course.
It's a beautiful city.
I
It's
spoke
amazing.
in San Francisco to thousands of people.
It's amazing. Look at San Francisco now.
Oh, man, San
Look
Francisco
at-
is not the San
Look
Francisco
at
I
Oakland.
knew.
Look at Oakland now.
The Bay, yeah.
You know, look at all these cities with all this crime and
I
all this stuff
know.
going on. Now, one thing all of these cities have in common are Democrat mayors. I hate to say that.
Mm-hmm.
You find me cities with those crime rates with a Republican mayor, I don't think you're going to find one. Because I think 9 of the highest crime cities are all Democrat run. That including even downtown LA. Downtown LA has totally changed.
Oh man, downtown LA. It's crazy what's going on right now in LA versus what's going on in Frisco. LA is like a double ganger. It's like a image of how New York was when they were rebuilding New York after the September 11 attack. So downtown LA is screwed up, but at the same time they're rebuilding all this stuff at the same time. So it's like, it seems like they're, and then if you go into like Crenshaw and La Brea, you go down to South Central LA and you go to East Los, East LA and all that, and all the way down into the Inglewoods, past into the 100s and all that, and down to Gardena. It's like you see all this poverty, but at the same time you see all this stuff being built. All this stuff is being renewed. It seems like a mass level of gentrification going on in Southern California.
All right.
And
I'll give you a quick example. I went to renew my passport there at the Federal Building in Westwood, which is a very nice area. And you look at this area here, there's multi-million-dollar homes right next to the Federal Building. And I went to pick up my passport. And I look at these multi-million-dollar homes, and there's a park across the street, and in the park there's hundreds and hundreds of tents of homeless people.
that's
You know,
LA.
like-
LA.
No, that was not. It's not even LA. That's Westwood, which is basically, I don't know, Brentwood.
That's supposed to be the nice
Beverly-
area,
It's
man.
supposed to be the nice area. So can you imagine, spending, $3, $4, $5 million on a house? You got 200 homeless people living in front of you. That's part of the problem. The other part of the problem, like I say, is they're not solving the homeless. They're encouraging it, and then part of it, yes, has to drugs, mental illness, this and that. But then the other part of it also is the cost of living is getting so crazy. The amount of rents are coming, the food, everything, expenses, gas, food, everything. So a lot of these people are getting priced out. Now, again, I'm just going to say a quick solution that I think, not a solution, but at least something would be better than building $600,000 condos to give to the homeless, which again, just encourages the homelessness, is I'd say, okay, we need to build a shelter where it's comfortable, where you have air conditioning, you have heat, you have bathrooms, you have whatever, but there's 200, 300, 400 beds. So it's not like you have your own private place and this and that. And, it's just somewhere that's humane, but it's somewhere to help you get on your feet so you can move on.
Right,
Okay,
I
because
agree.
when you make it so comfortable, then guess what? What's the incentive if you're getting a free condo for $600,000, which that's what they're doing in downtown LA? They got 2 buildings with $600,000 condos for the homeless. Hey, I'm never leaving. I'm going to be homeless
Well,
forever.
nobody's going to get those condos unless they're an illegal immigrant.
Well, probably not, but like I say, and it just encourages more of them, and that's what I'm saying. It encourages more of the problem. It doesn't solve the problem; it makes it worse.
Absolutely.
So there is some solutions on
Governor
housing.
Newsom is behind some of that.
Yeah. Now on housing,
And Brown messed up too.
yeah, a little quick touch on the housing. They talk about doing lower income housing. Yeah, they do it. And then corporations buy it, and then they rent it, and then it ends up being owned by a corporation. I think they should do low-income housing, but it should be deed restricted, that they can only sell it to owner-occupied people, because that keeps it within.
By the way, this gentleman knows what he's talking about. He's a realtor.
Yeah, so I'm in the real estate industry, so I know a little bit about that. But I think that would definitely help out, people getting into the market. But the sad thing I see, especially out in San Bernardino, you look at these properties, some of the cheaper properties, because they're cheaper properties, they're all bought by investors. So all of a sudden, they're all rental properties. So the market's not there, and you get priced out of the market and pushed out.
That's what's going
Absolutely.
on. That makes
and that's
sense.
what I'm saying. There should be these properties, because if you do low-income housing, and then you get a corporation like BlackRock that just buys it and then rents it back, then it defeats the purpose of what they're doing.
We should do a talk about this. Our next talk. We should do a talk about that.
I love talking about
because
it
you
I
have
think
such a great wealth of knowledge of how
and
the
that's what I'm
house
saying.
home,
I'm not against the
all that
homeless,
works.
and I encourage everybody. If you see a homeless person on the side of the freeway, whatever, hey, you know what? I don't like to give them money.
Right.
Because if my habits, I support myself.
Yeah, I don't think it's
But
helpful to, unless you're right there in front of them. But don't.
I will take them. Hey, you know what? I'll buy you whatever. I'll buy you food. I'll buy you this. I'll buy you whatever. I'll
That's
help you out,
better.
whatever.
I think that
but
makes
that's
sense.
better. My
Give them
wife,
give them $5 so they can have some bus fare. Other than that, don't go giving $100.
because
like
if
that.
not, it's going to go to crack or
you don't know what
or
they're doing. Yeah. it
And
don't
again,
make
I
no
don't know.
sense.
My ex-wife used to say, "Oh, what the hell is it to you? You just give them the money, let them do whatever." I said, "No, I work for my money. I just want to." But I'll never say no to somebody for a little bit of food or for whatever, or to help them for whatever it is. Absolutely not. So I definitely encourage you to do that. I'm not anti. So like I say, I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm not anti-homelessness. But there has to be solutions to it. We can't encourage it.
Right. And so that just goes to show how it's a top-down thing, not just a bottom-up, of why people are homeless. It goes to show the system is rigid and that we have some mismanagement and misdeeds by those at the top. It's not just that people are getting addicted to drugs and people are living life wrong, or that they just having, they need help. It's also because the people at the top are doing some wrong things and some bad policies. And remember, policy is what you don't do. It's not just what you do. Policy is what the government doesn't do. It's not just what the government does.
Yeah, and one of the things I think in the last 3.5 years is people's credit card debt has gone way up, and a lot of the savings has gone down. Very few people actually have savings. They're 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless.
Oh,
That's
man.
the scary
It's
thing.
crazy.
Because I've seen a lot of these homeless people that they're homeless not because they're on drugs, not because of mental illness. They just simply can't afford it, or
Absolutely.
they're going to move into their car or the RV or whatever it is because they get priced out of the market,
priced out.
and every day things are getting more expensive. Now, because I'm in the real estate industry, people ask me, "Oh, hey, Nadeem, is the market going to crash? It's going to crash." In the past, I would have said yes because things doesn't make sense. But right now, I don't see a market crash.
Me neither.
Because, and the reason I say that is because I think people have lost the respect for the dollar. Everything is so expensive.
And that's internationally too. That's not just
but
home.
construction stuff, food, everything. The prices of everything is so it's so ridiculous. And like I say, $1 million house right now. Oh, I got $1 million house. Now it's like,
wow.
that's just a regular house. There's no big deal. And that's what I'm saying. They've lost the respect for the dollar. Now, the sad thing is, if you've got kids or you're a first-time home buyer, you're trying to buy. If you're a first-time home buyer right now, I guarantee you're not going to buy a house. The only way you're going to buy a house is, and I encourage everybody to buy a house, is if you get together, 2 family members, 3 family members, you get together, you buy a house, you get into the market. Because I would encourage you to get into the market to go ahead and do it. But by yourself, it used to be 4 years ago. 4 years ago, it took $59,000 to buy the average house. Right now, I think it's like $130,000. It's almost double or more than double to buy the same house.
Wow.
Just to start.
So look, everybody, you see, you got a wealth of knowledge here. We're going to be doing another talk soon. He's dropping the bombs on real estate, not only real estate, on finance, all in one. We're going to be doing that soon. And this time it won't be no just jerk out of nowhere live stream. It's going to be actually, I'm going to give notice and when and how you can clock in. And he's going to give you knowledge and tips and even teach skills and how you can contact him if you want to learn and get help with investing into your own home and how to do it as a family and how to do group investments in the homes and whatnot. But right now we're going to stay on the subject of politics and trick knowledge in dealing with this Harris and Trump competition. I personally think that the government is telling us something right to our face no matter who we are. We don't give that much of a damn. You're not going to get a perfect leader. There's no such thing as a perfect leader. This is just what the government is telling us. And in fact, you're going to have to deal with your choice of narcissistic leaders. That's what the government is telling everybody. Yet, whether we like it or not, in certain ways, Harris might be a little, and her regime might be a little better in certain, or bring pros, but they also have cons. Trump has pros. He also has cons. But for my measurement, what I realize is all people are different. And being a metaphysician and being a political atheist, I realize and I teach. That's right. My book, The Art of Political Atheism, is coming out soon. I teach that People have a fucking problem. People believe in things that don't benefit their own ass. They don't benefit their own soul. They don't benefit their mind, but they believe in those beliefs. You have certain attitudes, which means you have certain habits, and you have outcomes that don't benefit you, and in fact, they harm you. And I'm telling you right now that to be overly invested and not be a political atheist, you could suffer spiritually, which means you're suffering health-wise. And that means you will be suffering financially. Being a political atheist is a great suggestion, and that's what I'm doing for you. But yet, being a political atheist doesn't mean you walk away from politics, and it also doesn't mean you're non-biased. It doesn't mean that at all. In fact, it means that you're simply going for what benefits you. But there's a lot more to it, and that's why you get the book, and that's why you follow my classes I'm going to be having. The books and classes all will come out at the same time, etc. And my book, Outline to Empower, will be coming out soon also. I wanted to drop it all at once. That's why it's all delayed. But also, let's go back to our conversation. I believe that we'll be in the next level of the second Civil War in a couple of months. I believe we'll be in the second Civil War within a couple of months. We'll be the next stage of the second Civil War. We're in a cold World War III. We're in a cold second Civil War. We're in a cold wars. We're in a code, C-O-L-D, not code, C-O-D-E. I'm not talking about if you're on code or off code. I'm talking about the cold second Civil War in the United States of America. The cold World War III. And that's why I have the second Civil War up on, in that film, Civil War, up on the screen. It's not by accident. Because I believe the outcome, whether it's Trump or whether it's Harris that becomes the president, we're going to the next stage of the second Civil War, which will mean it will either be an open Civil War or it's going to be the next and last stage of the cold Civil War. What do you think?
I got something interesting to say about that, okay? Because I have voted Republican my entire life, okay? If you hadn't figured that one out yet. But when Barack Obama was elected, I was not happy. But you know what? I said, shit, motherfucker won. Okay, whatever, no big deal. Then he ran again. And guess what? Fucking won again. Oh, well, he won. Okay. Then Trump gets elected. No, that's it. That's it. We're going to impeach him with this and that and this and that. And they just went into and all this hate and all this stuff came into. So that's why when they say, wait, that Trump caused the hate, I don't think so. And when I say
the divide was already there.
The divide was already there, but I think it was on the Democrat side. Because on my side, like I said, hey, yeah, Barack Obama won. He's our president. Great. Congratulations. You just suck it up. And like I said, then he won again. You suck it up. Oh, well. Trump won. You should have just sucked it up. Get a better candidate. Work harder. 4 more years, and you get it. Okay? Now, going back, one of the first elections I didn't vote in because I was too young. I was still a kid. Was Reagan, okay? And when the Reagan election came up, I don't know if you guys knew that Reagan was a movie star.
Of course.
Okay, he did cowboy
Everybody
movies and all
knows.
that stuff.
He did more cowboy movies than anybody in history.
He did, but
He
when the
acted in it.
election was there, they weren't allowed to play his movies because they wanted to give equal coverage to all the parties.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
They had
Then-
control.
Yes,
Government
then
control.
after the election, then all the movies came out. Okay. Then I remember a few years ago, I don't remember, 15, 20 years ago, I'd see KFI, the radio, and different things, and they would say, okay, well, we got this candidate coming up online, and we're going to give him 15 minutes, and we're going to give 15 minutes to all the candidates, and they gave everybody the equal amount, and here's the presentation, here's that. They didn't give you this bias and tell you what to think and what to do and present it their way. The news should be the news, and you should be able to decide what you like and what you not what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
Today it's more like, oh, my TV told me to hate Trump. My TV, and then people can't say why or how. Or my TV told me that Biden is the sharpest man possible, and he's got so much energy when he's off of TV, and we can barely keep up with him.
So are you suggesting that nowadays that the media is influencing stronger than it used to?
Absolutely.
The corporate media.
You have to be careful on both sides.
Right.
Because you have, BS stuff on both sides, and you really have to. So what I'm trying to tell you is you need to really think of the policies and stuff and do your research and actually think about things, not
Yes.
just what
As a political
I say it as a
atheist, I
joke.
suggest
I
the
say,
same
you know,
thing.
not listen to what your TV or what your computer tells you, because you know you look at
Not only that, you can't listen to what your mom tell you, your dad tell you, unless you can hear them
listen,
out.
listen to your mom,
You
'cause you get in trouble.
You can hear them out.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what I'm saying is, you
think
have
for
to
yourself.
You have to come to a final decision after doing research, and that's what I was saying earlier. As a political atheist, I teach people how to approach politics with a rational consciousness instead of with emotions and instead of being a follower. It's like one of the problem, one of the problems with, like, for instance, I want the best for foundational Black Americans. I want the original Blacks, not Africans that come here after World War II or after the Civil Rights. We made it possible for them to come here. Specifically, we did, not just the government. We got killed, dragged, dogs biting us in front of cameras, get beat up, getting lynched, all that. We went through all that and fought for these rights for people to come into this country. African Americans did. Not all Americans gave a damn. We did that. We did that single-handedly. And you have Black people that come here from other countries that look down on African Americans. That you can call us African Americans. We call ourselves, some of us call ourselves different names. I believe we're foundational Black Americans. We're the original people that were originally here before the Europeans that came. We're the original people during slavery. We're the original people after slavery that paved the way for a lot of laws and civil rights in this country for all human beings and human rights. We did that. And it's like, you got a lot of people coming from these other countries that they want to take all their problems out on us. They want to get everything. So all that stuff you were saying, back to what you were saying, it doesn't fit everybody. That's the thing. So it's like the media wants to, like, for instance, the Democrats want to make all these laws to benefit everybody. Well, guess who gets the shit end of that stick? Do I even have to say it? So even though we got screwed up for all these hundreds of years, right here, Americans, you got people popping up here from who knows where, getting all this stuff given to them. And that's what the only reason I interrupt what you were saying is to say that everything doesn't apply to everybody equally. And I think the dishonesty on the level of not just the Democrats, but the liberals is really fucked up. I know for a fact that when you deal with a dog that's growling at you and yelling at you, it's giving you a chance. It's letting you know you in danger. But a dog that's just, sniffing and coming and licking you, but all of a sudden it just locks its teeth into your neck. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is kind of the situation going on. And that's why I feel like it's a civil war. I feel like...
But see, I go back to that Civil War thing. It shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't.
Why is there Civil War? I go back to the same thing. Barack Obama won, so he won. Oh, well, it's only 4 years. And then it ended up being 8 years. It shouldn't be a Civil War. So why is it right now, I'm sure that a lot of your viewers saw
I think
me.
the blame game on both
No.
sides is why there is this.
Okay,
Second Civil War.
but I'm going to tell you why. First of all, I bet you a lot of your viewers saw and looked at this and they saw my hat, and all of a sudden they hated me because they saw the hat.
Well, guess what? I'm gonna say something. I want all of you Black people, regardless of what you identify as, that's watching, because I see you guys all in my I'm streaming on YouTube and Instagram, by the way. I'm not streaming on Facebook right now. But I want to say that you were just mentioning the
hate with the hat, that.
Well, I asked African Americans or Black Americans to come on my show all the time. They won't. I asked a lot of Black women that are Americans and that are Nigerian. Some are Ghanaian. Some are from some Hispanic women to come on. I wasn't good enough for them. And now they don't know where I stand. They met me on a fly like
I didn't know where you standed either. I didn't
you didn't
know
know.
either.
You didn't know. I told you somebody else was going to be here to debate him. By the way, I told him, and he showed up, and it was an African American man that was going to debate him. You know, and so that's supporting Harris, a Democrat. Now, you guys showed up. I asked so many people that they know I agree with them. They don't even think I'm good enough to come on the show. They live locally. They live in LA or whatever. They come down here when I say I'm gonna have a smoke out. They come up in here. This whole room be smoked out. They come up in here. I tell them, you know, I'm showing up to this event. They're gonna be doing a open mic live stream. They'll show up to that. They spend money for that. But when it comes to something that's gonna be for their benefit, they won't come. But you can't. Yeah. So I take off my hat to you for that.
And I just think, again, this election is just too important just to go ahead and let it go by.
They don't. A lot of people, period, don't want. They think it's just redundant. This
nothing
election,
change.
it don't mean shit. They don't understand certain things. It's like you're at a cross fucking roads, and a lot of my own people don't get it. They don't believe that shit can really hit the fan where people are hunting us again. They don't believe shit could get really bad where it could be a second Civil War situation where your ass should have been prepping. That's why I got that sick of Civil War shit up there, so you can realize y'all can look at me like I'm a fool and who do I think I am to be live streaming this and this, but in a minute when I drop this book, these few books that I'm dropping, and one of them is about prepping, y'all gonna realize when the shit hit the fan, I should have been messing with him. That's who I should have been getting down with.
Yeah, and the prep and all that stuff, that's a whole other different conversation.
We can have it. We
get
can
into
have
that
it.
also, so I agree with you on that part. But just like I say, just that Civil War part, I'm going to just tell everybody, all the listeners that are out there, support Kamala, great. You know, the way I think it should be is we go out there and we vote, and whoever wins, wins. And that's the way. And if your party...
government and leading ain't a party, man. It ain't an election. All that shit is before the storm. Y'all see all that stress that was put on Barack Obama? All that stress that was put on Biden? You Democrats? Those of y'all don't want to see Harris? Let me tell you something, man. Y'all better watch where you investing. Watch where you investing. Because everybody can't stand the ground and hold it like you think they can. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't perform on that level Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Robinson performed on.
All right, and so we're talking about just again, like I said, if you support Harris, great. You support Harris, and we're talking about the Civil War,
the second Civil War.
The second Civil War. What worries me, and I would like this election to be, and of course, obviously, you know which side I'm biased towards. I would want an absolute overwhelming win for Trump, or in reality, maybe an overwhelming win for Kamala, because I think it's going to be one of these nail biter things where right now we're 7 states, the 7 battleground states, and California doesn't even matter because it's Democrat, it doesn't matter, so it's just those battleground states, and if either side thinks that one party cheated or the other, that's when that Civil War starts happening. And that's when the problem is. And that's what I'm saying. I would rather have an overwhelming win, one way or another.
Overwhelming.
Yeah,
win.
because, I mean, you get... It goes back to the same thing also, is why do we not have voter ID? They say, because black people don't know how to get an ID. You got an ID?
Yeah.
There you go. So what do you mean you don't got an ID? But yet, you want to go buy a beer, you need an ID. You want to go cash a check, you need an ID. But to go and vote where something, you don't need ID. Oh, that's just not necessary. And, no, we have to go mail a ballot to everybody, and there's all this bunch of fraud. There should not be any instance of fraud, period. I'm actually a volunteer. I'm a poll worker for the poll here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm going to be...
So you're going to make sure I'm voting?
Well, I'm working, whatever, just to go ahead and do it. But the thing is, California's got 30 days to turn in the results. Why did you? I mean, in the past it was election night, and at the end of the night, who won. And then now for these, they're counting votes for 30. Why do you get 30 days? And you got different states like that. That's just ridiculous. Now you got 30 days of voting. I was hired for 5 days to work. We got to basically watch this shit for 24 hours. Well, what about the other 25 days? Can stuff happen in the middle of the night? And can that be maybe the Democrats this 4 years, and the next 4 years it's the Republicans? Or, there shouldn't be cheating. It should be whoever wins, wins. And if you don't like who won, suck it up get a better candidate in 4 years, then your candidate runs, and that's it. Not this hate, not this division. It's just, but again, to be able to listen to what your candidate is saying. Right now, or we go back to Biden. Biden hid. He never did any rallies, anything at all, and all because of COVID. They hit him. You know, Kamala here, nobody voted for her. You know, she didn't win any delegates. They were handed to her. You know, and yet she doesn't open up to the American people. She doesn't do any interviews. She doesn't do anything. You know, she should be doing interviews all over the place. Trump goes to interviews with CNN. You know, CNN hates him. He's even got a lawsuit against CNN. He still does it. He did the debate with CNN. He doesn't shy away from anybody. He confront anybody. But yet Harris, oh no, they don't want her to do anything because they're going to find out basically that if it's if there's no teleprompter, then she can't really speak. Is that really who you want negotiating with Putin and negotiating the nuclear codes on somebody who can't talk?
This is very, 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 very important.
I love women.
Very important what you're saying, my guy.
I love women. I don't feel that this is the right one.
When it comes to certain things, she's not the person.
I'd like to see what thing is. You know, what is the best presidential thing that she's done? What's the best thing as a vice president she's done? I don't think anybody can answer that. I challenged,
I would say this. When it comes right now, the world, everybody. I don't know if you were on and know my background with political studies at the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University in South Africa. I shook Nelson Mandela's hand. I have political science. I studied in an intelligence program here. That's how I ended up working in public diplomacy on 2 continents. I've taught and I've studied international humanitarian law in Geneva and in Davos. You need to understand that we are in a Cold World War. We want reparations in America. I do, for African Americans. I know that that's y'all, the most of y'all that's on here right now. Black Americans, right? So I'm bringing that up for this. Listen, we are in a situation where everything's declining in Western civilization. We are being in a 1600 economic system. This is a 1600 economic system we're in. Technology is evolving. Yet, law and order is declining globally in this country and whatnot. Politics can't solve everything. Technology can't either. Obviously, human morals and ethics can't either. But what can happen is we can reach a balance. You have to realize capitalism, socialism, communism, all of those are isms. None of them are perfect. All of them have plenty of flaws. I'm taking you to the level of political science, political atheism consciousness. That's why I'm saying this. We are in a situation right now where most of the most serious things going on that were either the majority of us will suffer in a certain way or we're going to benefit. There's very few things where we get to decide as a group of humans, a mass group of humans, together. The regime where the United States government is headed to, we get to decide together. In a smile, we all get to contribute a drop to how that ocean will flow. Will it be like an ocean, still like a lake, or will it flow like a river? How will that ocean flow? That's why the superdelegates in the electoral college and the public votes all matter. I feel internationally, the United States international, how they deal with the international world war that's right now going on will decide more of how things will end up in this United States domestically. It is more important how the president and the administration going forward, how their attitude is, and what their policies and what their preferences is, and what grounds they stand on internationally is more important than what they stand on domestically. The international will influence the domestic condition of this country much more than the domestic will influence the international. Through experience, being a world debate champion in 3 continents, on multiple island nations, not just debates. I did mock United Nations. I have a master's in public administrative law. You understand? You have to understand. I worked public diplomacy. I'm pretty sure y'all never heard of that, any of you, until I said it. I'm telling you. We need something that's going to slow down those international wars. Especially us Black Americans. We cannot afford the Third World War to become protracted combat globally. We, of all people, cannot afford international protracted combat of the Third World War to kick off. We will get the shit end of the fucking stick, pretty black women, handsome black men, and we're not acting like it. We want to watch Tyler Perry movies and silly shit. We want somebody to come on stage and dance for us during a fucking election time. That's beat shit. So right now, I did cut to the black on my screen for a minute because I'm giving my camera. So we're going podcast right now. But I just wanted to say that to you. And in that, Kamala Harris has nothing to do with it. Who's ever funding and controlling the Democrats want a third world war. They want it to be protracted combat immediately. Whoever's funding Donald Trump doesn't. That's why. Black women, you need to look past her being a woman. And I know she's a good person at heart and she wants good things. But you have to understand, if the combat of Third World War becomes protracted combat, as fast as whoever's controlling the Democrats, we're going to get the shit into the stick real fucking fast. It's going to get delayed under Trump so we can prep better.
You said it all, my friend. You said it all. So I definitely agree with you. And there was a lot of passion there in that close. And that's why I say we need to go ahead and look and see what the policies are and really look beyond that, not just, what they tell us to do. So we need to...
Or that, why you want somebody to be the president because she's a woman? Why you want somebody to be the president?
I want the president to be the best one that's capable to do the job, not because it's a woman. And I would love it for it to be a woman. I just don't feel that is the right woman. Somebody who can't stand up to the own friendly media, like ABC and CNN, and won't do an interview. Huh? No, good. Won't do an interview. How strong is she going to be when it comes to, confronting some of these killers like Putin or something like that? I mean, you really need somebody who's ruthless, and whether you like it or not, Trump, I don't think is scared of anybody. He's there. He's going to confront whoever it is, whether it's, North Korea, China, this, that, and we're respected in the world. Well, right now, I don't, it's like I say, I've traveled around the world to different things, and people just joke, oh, el viejito, the little old guy, oh yeah, this, that, and and it's just because, they're laughing at, at Biden, falling down and this and that, and saying, oh yeah, he just crapped his pants and this, and these are just people that are internationally just saying that, and sometimes I ask, because not that I care what somebody's opinion is in another country, because like I say, I don't get involved in Mexico's politics or Colombia's politics or whatever it is, because that's their country. It's not my job to do that. But I have in the last couple of months that I've traveled and I've kind of asked the opinion. And then the interesting thing, again, we talked about earlier, because Trump is a convicted felon and he's got 34 felonies, right? Now, David, I got a challenge maybe for you and some of the listeners. There was 34 felonies that were past the statute of limitations, so there was 34 enhanced that made it the enhanced. What was he convicted of? What were those other felonies? Can anybody tell me what they were? Do you know what they are?
Only thing I know about, honestly, I didn't do much research. I have listened, but
David, I'm not even going to make you go there. I'm not even going to go there because I guarantee
wouldn't
you.
believe what the media says, the corporate media says.
They didn't tell Trump what those underlying felonies were until the closing statement of the trial. They did the trial.
They didn't even let him know what he was going to be convicted of?
Not the enhanced ones that beat the statute of limitations. The other ones, again, it was a paperwork thing that he put this versus. I mean, come on.
Oh, I see. I see.
That's what
that's
do.
bullshit.
So that was bullshit. But then the underlying felonies that extended the statute of limitations. They did the closing statement.
I don't even think we should even discuss this part. You know why? I think I'm gonna tell everybody listening. I think it's bullshit.
That's what I said.
Because look, I have a cousin. My cousin Zeke, right? In 1987 or 6, he got a crack cocaine charge. He had to go to youth authority, right? He was only 15 years old. Zeke didn't have no crack on him. Zeke never sold dope. It was some guys. He was outside. We all be outside. That's how it was back then. And the cops roll up, thinking that some of them was selling dope. Some of them threw the dope, or either the cops lied and they just took some dope out of it. Because cops used to be lying back then. They would take dope. Some of the cops, it was very few cops that did it. It was most of the cops wouldn't do some shit like that. But some of them would plant shit. So my cousin ended up going through all hell, and he was a felon. I never met a human being as compassionate and empathetic as my cousin Zeke.
Yeah.
He's such a good brother. Hold on, I gotta reset focus.
Yeah, no worries. But that's just what I say. They come up with these BS, lawsuits and stuff like that just to go ahead and stop Trump. And people say, there's hats that say, I'm going to vote for the felon. I don't even call him a felon because I don't consider him a felon.
Well, as a political, a long-time political person, an actual political science, I believe we're on a standard that shouldn't be there any longer. There's people like me. I've been convicted of crimes when I was a teenager. I was locked up. Luckily, I was locked up as a teenager, so I never got locked up as an adult. But I was locked up compared to a lot of other teenagers, I was locked up for more time than a regular, because I was part of something that happened, and I was blessed enough to get locked up. It helped me. It made me become a man early, and I was a whole year of my teenagehood was locked up. And what happened is, I was a man when I came out. I wasn't allowing myself to break my mother's heart no more.
Yeah.
So I wasn't running in and out of prison. I didn't do that. I also never got on meth. I never got on crack. I never got into these things and I did what nobody in my family did. I went and got an education. I traveled the world multiple times and this and this.
We worked hard for you.
And you know what? I don't believe that we need to keep the same standard that we've been on. I think they need to change the standard. I don't believe somebody like Donald Trump should be kept from being president because he has certain type of charges that he was convicted of. I think they need to look at who the person is today. Everybody lives and learns. Everybody make mistakes. And that's my view on that.
Yeah, but I think you're going to get 34 felonies because you put on your bookkeeping and you paid an attorney versus paying Stormy Daniels. So that just doesn't make sense. I mean, that's what you're going to come 34 times, and it was 34 different things. It was 34 entries in the journal, so that's why I got 34 counts. I mean, to me, that's just BS that they're trying to do. It's election interference, and that's why I say let the man run and let the people you pick. If you don't like him, hey, get your friends together and vote for whoever it is, and just do the election and stop all this hate and stop all this stuff.
I want to get this. Everything he's saying is right. Like I do not feel like the amount of men that are hating on Kamala Harris because she's a woman, or the amount of people that are hating on her because of her ethnicity, being part black, being two different types of black. I don't think that hate equals the amount of support she got because she's a woman, or the amount of support she gets because of her melanated ethnic background. And I want to say that because I feel like Donald Trump gets a lot of slack because of his background, because he's a person that didn't go through poverty. So we're supposed to feel he's not worthy. He's not I know a man that never went through poverty helped raise me, and he was a white man, and he sacrificed himself for a lot of us in that ghetto that I was raised in, and it helped me in my life. It helped me. So unlike other people, I don't look down on Donald Trump because he didn't go through poverty. I don't like the fact that he's a narcissist. I do understand narcissism a whole lot more than other people. So I do know that's a big problem. But if you know that if you know anything about narcissism, you know Joe Biden is a narcissist, and you also know that Kamala Harris is a full-blown narcissist also. You know a narcissist when you see him. And I just feel like I want the masses of women of color, specifically foundational Black American and immigrant blacks, to be blessed enough to see this in a bigger picture way. I think they do deserve to see a woman. My mom, that just barely passed away a couple of years ago, is right to want to see Hillary Clinton. I supported Hillary Clinton even when she was going against Barack Obama because of my mama.
See, but
by the time she got up against Trump, I stopped volunteering because I got to see not only her health problems, but I got to see all the lies and how she treated that African American woman, young woman that walked up to her and asked her a couple of questions. She almost damn near hit that young woman. And it made me see, hold on, she's not any different than Trump. In fact, she might be worse. I haven't seen Trump in that situation, but she damn near punched that young Black American woman. And so right now what I want to do is to allow those Black women to know there's somebody that do want to see a Black woman as the first woman president. I do want to see, but I understand from being in politics so long and being educated to be a politician and to be in government, I understand the fraudulence with someone like Kamala Harris. And I just don't think she's gonna do the policies like specifically foundational Black American women think she will. I wanna say that. I don't think she's going to be because of all the shit going on internationally, all the problems with the economy, I do not think she's even going to have the chance to help y'all like you think she will. I don't think she's going to have a chance. Not at all. I think it's a misnomer. And as for you to say, well, Donald Trump's a racist, okay, he's a racist, right? I don't think Donald Trump is going to have a chance, and neither is anyone in his administration, to call himself fucking over Black Americans. With all the shit going on internationally, Donald Trump not gonna have a chance to empower any white nationalists to fuck over Black Americans. I don't think so. I just took a lot away from both sides. Like I said, I'm a political atheist. So I'm gonna get to
that's fine. And the only thing that I look at it, I don't think this should be about, oh, I want to see the first woman. I want to see the first Black woman. I want to see the first this. I think it should be the best person and set everything up aside. You know, if it's a woman, she's the best candidate, she's the best this because of her policies or because of this, but not because of what she is physically or whatever. And I go back to the same thing. I don't know what Kamala's policies are. You go to Kamala's website, on the official website, and what does it show? It shows a bio talking a little bit about her, and then it has fundraising. It has nothing about her policies or what she's going to do. You know, yet we're just supposed to just go ahead and just think blindly. And that's what I'm saying. What are her policies? What physically is she going to actually do? Oh, day one, I'm going to go ahead and help out the middle class. Okay. That's what she said in an interview. What is she going to do to help the middle class? She just says general stuff, but doesn't really tell you what she's going to do or how she's going to do it. And that's why if Kamala said, hey, this is my plan, day one, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this, and I'm going to go ahead and do this.
I want to add to that. I want to add to your wisdom. I don't mean to cut your wisdom. I want to add to that and say this. TNS, Reed, just joined y'all. Peace. Kamala Harris, I don't believe Kamala Harris was prepared at all to be running or even becoming the president. I believe that they were not preparing her. They weren't prepared. But they started preparing once Biden's health had showed to be so bad. And I think that's why Kamala Harris is being prepared right now, not only for that debate, but they're barely briefing her because she's constantly on the move. She's running for office. They're briefing her in a little period of time. You need to memorize this. You need to memorize that. How do I know this? I was a debate champion. I did World's Debate. Look it up. It's called World's Debate. It's the universities around the whole planet. I was part of an elite few that was debating for multiple years around the world. So much that I won a scholarship to study in the Southern Hemisphere. And I ended up in South Africa and in Geneva. So what I'm trying to tell y'all, I know how this shit go. Being prepped and being prepared to do speaks and info. They're barely even putting her policies together. You see? And so that's to add to what he was saying. It's correct what he's saying. You see? But I also say, again, everybody's flawed. Trump and what they want to do is flawed. But, hey, people, right now, Trump, Kamala, the one thing that's for sure is we don't know until whoever's the president how it's going to end up.
Yet we do, because we've already seen 4 years of Trump, and we've seen what he's done. It's not like he's telling you.
4 years of her being vice president.
Correct.
And she...
First time ever.
What has she done?
That's what my question is.
Okay, let's say this. She was a repeat of Donald Trump's vice president. Because the strongest vice president we've seen since George Bush was vice president was Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney was a strong vice president.
But yet
he
with
was
Trump,
extremely strong.
we had a strong president.
Yes,
so
but his vice president was weak. And so we followed up with another weak vice president who's named Harris.
No, a weak vice president with a weak president, which is named Biden. Okay? Who's basically going to be, again, sleepy Biden. What did Biden do? He just took vacations.
I would say
he was
this.
up on the beach.
If Biden was younger, he could have did better. But
Barack Obama,
African Americans, if he was his young version of himself, he would have fucked you over.
Yeah, Barack Obama did not want Biden to run. He did not. What did he do? He pushed him out of the way, and he put Hillary Clinton right in the way. That was unfair, what Barack did to,
Taking Biden out of there.
Yeah, taking Biden, because that was his chance to do it. That was the time to do it.
I was saying this months ago, that Biden should have been replaced. But I was hoping, this is what I was hoping would happen. I was hoping once it was time for election, he would stand down and they would choose someone different.
The unfortunate
I thought it would
thing,
be Newsom. I thought they were going
I
to choose
thought it was
somebody.
Newsom, and I would be more scared of Newsom.
I would
I
be
think
more.
he had more of a chance to win.
He's a worse narcissist.
Yeah, I agree.
Than,
I agree.
Than
I mean,
Harris
not that-
is.
not that I like him, but I was scared.
Harris is better. No,
Okay.
but Newsom is a freaking narcissist, dude.
I agree. And look what he's done to California. Those guys are not from California. We talk about San Francisco and stuff. It's an absolute mess. So I think that would have been horrible. That would have been even worse than Kamala. But I think he would have had a good chance of actually winning. And I think there's a reason why he's not pushing, he's not running it, and we'll leave that for another time. But I agree with you. I think they should have had a primary and had these people run and see who the Democratic nominee was. Now, I understand, or from what I believe, and maybe you can put some feedback into this, I think they didn't want to skip over Kamala because they didn't want to upset the black vote.
No, I think two things.
Because the right thing for
Two
the
things.
Democratic Party, for the party,
Two things.
would have been, hey, we got 5 candidates. Hey, let's do 5
Watch this.
quick.
This is why they didn't have time, because Joe Biden screwed it up being a narcissist. He didn't want to step down. And so what happened is Joe Biden not want to step down. They weren't able to prep.
But they would have been better
watch
off.
this. They wouldn't have been able to prep. They couldn't put Newsom in. So what ended up happening is, because Harris is from California and Newsom, it's illegal for a president and vice
Well, but they could have
president
put
to be
Newsom
from the
and
same
somebody
state.
else. That's what I'm saying. It didn't have to be Kamala. That's what I'm
But
saying.
what I'm saying, the reason why it turned out the way you saw it is turning out is because Joe Biden's narcissism wouldn't allow his ass to step down.
I agree that part. It was the last minute. But
He
still,
screwed
at
up
the
their
last
plan.
minute. But at the last minute, I think they could have done a quick primary and done 10
Nah.
candidates and whatever. They could have
That
done in a
dude
couple
was
of days.
not stepping down. And
No,
guess
I'm
why?
saying once he stepped
They
down.
couldn't. Guess why? Because the donors.
Well, that was for money. You're right.
The
It was
donors.
just for money.
That
You're
was
right.
why.
$200 million.
But everybody, we have both agreed that we are in a second civil war. If y'all want to call in, call in. It's been talking for a while. We have been putting it down. We didn't act like we're mixing it up with spiritual talk. We kept it strictly politics. We even delved into politics. I'm personally going after that trick knowledge. We bringing y'all how it go. And I'm going to tell you, if you do not want to vote, you are still A-okay by me. If you feel like, oh, this is a bad thing about Donald Trump and his regime and his administration, and you're projecting bad things with that. If you're saying Harris, at the same token, you're saying Harris, and I'm projecting bad things with Harris, and you don't want either, I don't blame you for not voting. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this much. Voting is an opportunity to participate. Oh, Alley Cat just chimed in, she said she isn't black. She must be saying Kamala Harris is not black. Alley Cat is a black woman. They should try making the vice president from a different party. Woo! Alley Cat, are you saying
That would be interesting.
the vice president should be from the independent party or the Green Party or one of those? Answer that if you want by calling in, or answer that by typing into the comments like you said. That's a good perspective. What do you think of that?
I think that would be interesting because let's just say
That would balance things
if it
out.
wasn't a Republican vice president, just something to bring the party together. And that's what I'm saying. Even with RFK, RFK was pushed out because they didn't want him to be any part of the Democrat. He had to go independent, and after that he went back to talk to Kamala, to join Kamala, and they said no. So he ended up
He was
dropping
too strong.
out. Well,
They
but
didn't want him
still.
because he was too strong.
Well, now where's he at now?
I
Now
think
he's with Trump.
He did the right thing.
Well, he joined Trump.
He has to.
Yeah, well,
And
he
he
did.
need to bring his base to Trump.
Correct, but that's what I'm saying. It would have been smarter for Kamala to go ahead and bring
But
it
they're
in and unite the
narcissists.
party. Okay, but
And they know he's a
believe me,
conservative.
I'm glad she did that because
Me too.
So I'm glad she did that too. But it just goes back to the same thing.
But a lot of the independents are running with her. A couple of the independent with a base are running with
The problem
Kamala.
is this: how do you know that? And I'm going to tell you
No,
how
they
you know
came
that.
out in the open.
No, who? Look. Where I'm going to go with this is you have to be careful. I don't listen to the polls, period, one way or another, because I think the media is not telling us the truth. Because, oh my God, they're 50-50. Oh,
They're
1 point.
not.
Oh, this. I
They're
don't
trying
believe
to
it.
keep themselves seeming like there's someone to listen to.
Yes,
that's
they're
the
just
most
making it
important
exciting,
for
this and that, but I don't buy
That's
it. I
like
don't
me
buy
coming
it.
out saying I did some kind of study and I don't even have SSPS software. I don't
Yeah.
even have the
And
software.
I'm gonna
but
get-
you know, I know the name of the
You know what's gonna
software
be
now.
interesting? You know what's gonna be interesting?
I could do it. I would just need some help.
You know what's going to be interesting? In the poll that I want to see, and I'm going to hold you to this, I want you to do the independent poll. And like we talked about earlier, and I want you to go out there, and I just want you to just go up to people and say, oh, I got a quick question for you. Kamala or Trump, that's it. No hat, no nothing, no bias, no this, and just ask the question, and don't, why? Why are you going to do that? Don't argue with them. It's just to take a poll. And I think it would be very interesting, very clean. And like I said, no hat, no nothing.
I'm going to do
And
it.
It's going to be
Y'all going to
interesting.
send me live streaming from locations. I'm going to start doing, I was already planning it. I'm going to do that. I got actual special equipment for that. I want to say something to you, my listeners that are melanoids, African descent, or that are soulful white people, Hispanic, Asian, anybody listening, Arab, Persian, Samoans, Pacific people, island people, it doesn't matter. I want to see a woman as the United States president. I do. And you know what? I want to see...
I don't. I want to see the best woman for the vice president. I want her for president. I don't want to see a president because she's a woman.
I was getting there.
I want to see a woman because she is sharp, she's smart, she's got really great policies, she's going to do the best thing for the American people.
And you know what?
Not because she's a woman. I don't want even the conversation of, oh, that's good because she's a woman. I want it to be because that's the best person.
And that's lifting people up to the highest political literacy consciousness.
Absolutely.
The highest level of politically literate consciousness. You just want the merit, not feelings, emotions, not my group, our people, not that selfishness, because that creates combat and conflict.
It's not an easy job. It's a very difficult job. And I don't look at that, I wouldn't want that job for anything because there's so many things involved and it's really hard.
I would say this. Back to what I was saying is I want the best woman that will represent you women.
Thank you.
Best. Not just someone to be there as a woman. Just like I would rather have Barack Obama as president than Jesse Damn Jackson. I would rather have, and I believe they killed Martin Luther King because he was going to end up the president. I believe that's why they killed Martin Luther King, because he was the president. I repeat, I believe they killed Martin Luther King, and the United States government has been sued by the King family, and the King family won. And the United States government was found guilty of helping conspire to kill Martin Luther King Jr. So I want to say, I believe Martin Luther King Jr. was actually, basically he was the first black American president. He just didn't live to become the president. And I believe that's why he was killed. I wanted to say that. But I want us to bring our literacy, our awareness of how politics really works, not just on the administrative end and not just on elections. Are a lot of you aware that regardless of who's president, the Congress and the Senate influence laws and policy more than the presidents do? Did you know those voting bodies influence the laws, whether they're going to stay the same or whether they change, whether they're allowed, the laws are allowed or disallowed more than the president? So you need to be voting for judges. You need to be voting for gubernatorial races. You need to be with our governors, mayors. You need to be voting especially for Congress representatives and Senate representatives. And let me tell you, spiritual people, something. We have two new guests in here, two new representatives. We have Trong King, who came in to the stream piece, and Robert Solis, and the 909. Thank you, a fellow 909. What up, Rob? Representing in the house, in the place to be from the Inland Empire. So what I want you guys to realize is, if you're very spiritual, two things. If you're spiritual and you're not about standing for justice, you're not spiritual. And that's an absolute statement. It's in my book, The Art of Political Atheism. If I've been a spiritualist like you don't know. I've done a lot for humanity as a spiritual person. I didn't sit back doing yoga only. I sacrificed to save lives. Okay? And I'm going to tell you something. If you're not involved in justice and you calling yourself a spiritual person, if you're not helping people, you're just doing yoga and all this and letting the sun shine you and planting plants, that's not it. It's too much injustice going on in this world. You need to apply that spiritual devotion, justice to your spiritual devotion, and that will require you to be involved in politics. If it's not just voting, which is a lower level of political activity, that's a low level of political activity, voting is. But doing more, uniting with people around you, close to you, in vicinities, building communities, not neighborhoods, communities, and leveraging your political capital, pushing initiatives, writing up initiatives, joining those with initiatives, standing against initiatives. Policy is what you do and don't do. Just wanted to mention and give a little political literacy to you all.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say this really quickly, and I think it is very important for every single person to vote. And I feel that if you don't vote, I think we've got 64 more days. After 64 more days, if you didn't vote, guess what? Shut up, because you have no say, because you didn't participate in it. Mm-hmm. So you need to go out there and vote, because it's too important. And the only thing I'm saying is look at the policies. Don't look at anatomy or whatever it is. Look at what's going to be the best for your family and for your country.
Oh, wow. Well stated. Well stated. Yeah, I think it's very important right now. My mind is really trying to. Don't make a mistake. This is some more from the political, the art of political atheism. Don't start comparing when it's time to vote or to choose sides. Totally take away the polarization out your mind. Take the comparing the sides out. You'll never decide right that way.
Don't take the emotional out.
Not only take the emotional out, clear your mind and come objectively and assess one side. Don't rush yourself. Give yourself a whole nother day and then do some research and assess the other side. Don't force yourself to make a decision. Let it come to you. Because you're going to subconsciously start seeing which one fits you best. Being a political atheist, you will know it's all about your own best benefit. But you cannot want your own best benefit if you're not altruistic. You have to have an altruistic perspective. Look these words up. Become politically literate. Anybody that's selfish, a narcissist politically, is not really for their own best benefit because they're not being altruistic. You don't want the best benefit for everyone. You can't give a whole pie to one group. You can't give 3/4 of a pie to only one group. That's what's wrong with the world's economy. 95% of the entire pie is in less than 1% of humanity's control. Back to politics. Be aware.
One little thing I did want to talk about a little bit, because we talked about Civil War. And I don't really like that conversation about Civil War, because I don't think we should go there or talk about that. But one point I did want to go ahead and make out. If Trump wins and it's going to upset you and you're mad, remember one thing. Trump only has 4 years to go. He can't go 8 years. He's got 4 years. So guess what? Trump wins. You don't like it? Suck it up. Get a better candidate, a better woman, and then run again in 4 years. And that's the way I would look at it. And that's why I don't like that conversation talking about Civil War. And the same thing. If Kamala wins, guess what? No big deal. We get up. Trump's not going to run again. And we'll get a different candidate, somebody else, whoever it is, and we run again. That's the way this country should be. It shouldn't be, oh no, my candidate didn't win, so now we're going to fight. It should be just we do the election, and that's why I say, if you don't vote, You have no say to complain or to, whatever it is, because you don't have a say. So that's why I would encourage everybody, you vote, whoever wins, wins. We suck it up. We move together as a country. And I don't like breaking things up into colors and races and women.
That's
Men.
good.
I like, it's just, if we just get to the thing where this is for the American people. If you're in this country, you're basically an American. And if not, then maybe you shouldn't be here. But if you're in this country, you're an American, and it should be the best thing for America. And I don't think there should be that big distinction. And again, I am Hispanic. I am a minority. I'm not black. But I just think it should be more focused. And if we all have the conversation,
A more mature
we're an American.
perspective, right?
I'm not a Cuban American.
Well,
I'm not
that's
this,
a
I'm
great
not
discussion
that.
we can have too in the future. Because if you understand the basis of when they created the United States, one of the main focuses, especially Madison, focused on one of his big contribution. And look up the Madison Papers, people. One of his main focuses was balancing the different groups and the different interest groups and the different factions, keeping the factions going on. So that's one of the things that scares people about Trump, is that Trump is considered a leader of a super faction of white nationalists. That's what's Trump's considered by a lot of people, that he's a leader.
That's because the media has told people that, but I don't think that's true.
I think that he's not, but what I believe is there's a lot of people that benefit from him in certain policies and his certain things he's doing, him and his administrator did while he was president,
like,
and will do, that are white nationalists. For instance, everywhere that Donald Trump went, including where he got shot, was historically a sundown town. All these places where he'd been giving them speeches in the South and in the Midwest are all sundown towns.
Well, that's because that's a battleground state. That's simply because of that.
And then not only that, I don't believe that the white nationalist groups would have got behind him. I'm talking about before he was president, while he was president, and still some of them that are now, because some of them have pulled away from him, but because he pulled away from them. So what I'm saying is he's considered a figurehead for white nationalism, and these people that consider him that are scared that he wished, like, for instance, he wished to give full immunity to police officers. There are police officers always and every day committing crimes.
One of the only
and that's
things,
nonsense.
One of the only things.
He said it though. That's
one
the
of the only
problem
things that I don't like about Trump. I'd probably say the only thing is that.
Yeah,
that worries me a little bit, and
it's extreme.
That's the only thing I don't like.
It's an absolute.
You have cops sometimes, not all of them, but every once in a while. So that is one of my concerns, and I think especially, again, I'm not a black man, but I think that's something that will worry me about that, and that's the only thing that cautions me a little bit when he wants to give,
Yeah, I think what's going.
And I understand where he's coming from, but you also have to be careful because there is some cops that are just. And again, I hang around San Bernardino also, and I seen some of these cops. And I told those cops, hey, not everyone's a bad guy. What they pulling somebody over, and I can get stories into that and how they've treated me. And I was like, dude, what.
Right, what I do, like.
Yeah, but
yeah, that's the issue. I think that something's wrong with Trump's advisors when it comes to the police.
But yet, I don't believe in the defund police and all this bunch of stuff.
No,
and
that's
all
fake.
These,
that's fake because there's women, like last night, and I got the video. I could play the video for y'all right now if you want, but I don't really want to do that. But about 1 o'clock at night, a sister and a brother was over there fighting. They're in an apartment on the building right here, opposite of this building. So I went out there and started videotaping. And I went all the way up and was videotaping just in case it got bad enough, so I can have evidence of why I went out there and knocked on the door.
You should always,
well, let me say what I'm saying so that they can hear and they can see the type of character I have. I went over there and recorded because I wanted them to see that my intent is to make sure that woman's not going to get violent,
sure.
And also to make sure it's recorded if she picks up a gun and shoot him. if she's doing it and ask,
Regardless,
if
absolutely.
the domestic, because they were yelling for like 30 minutes straight, and it was getting real bad. And she was, when I heard her say leaving, he was like, I ain't leaving. I said, I'm about to go. And he could have came downstairs. I know the dude. The dude, I don't know him, but the dude is like 250 pounds. I'm 160, but I can handle myself because that's what I do. I wasn't running on basketball courts. I was getting in rings and going before. In the 90s, I was in the MMA before it got popular. So I can handle myself with men. And like, so I recorded it and I came back. 1 minute later when I came back, she decided to leave, which was smart on her, which shows he's fucking up because his ass should have left just to get a breather. But he's being too snobby. He gonna end up locked up for domestic violence. I've seen this before. But my point is this, that because I was adding to what you were saying, is that the police we need police to protect women and children. We need somebody. The system ain't perfect. Cops is dirty, but there's dirty ass cops is what I mean. But there's a majority good cops, straight up.
I agree.
And like, and cops are humans, regardless of their race, background, and stuff. They're gonna make mistakes, and I just feel like that's a prime situation where cops could help. But see, the problem with cops now, especially in California, is if the cops come out, the cops have to make an arrest. So I wouldn't call the cops unless I know it's time to call the cops on them, because the cops will come out and have to make an arrest, and it's just not fair. So I'm not going to call the cops on people unless it's to protect them.
One subject I'd like to talk about at one point in time, and I don't know, now may not be the time, would be the Second Amendment.
Oh, yeah, let's go on that. Let's do one on that. So we're going to make a list before you leave. Let's make a list.
Yeah, because I know that's a big thing, again, between the Democrats and the Republicans and the Second Amendment,
Absolutely.
what it's for, and this and that.
Well, I want to say something. I think it's very important that Donald Trump is wants to invest all that money into crypto.
Yeah, I agree.
I think because crypto brought a lot of minorities into a lot of money. It took a lot of young people.
My sons.
Yeah, they got to make a lot of millions and thousands of dollars, like Robinhood. Before Robinhood was capped, I made all this equipment came from that money I made on Robinhood. It was just like money just fell on me. It was like, but then they capped it because big government. That was more like the Democrat. Now, it was some Republicans behind that too. That was something they all agreed, because the Wall Street people was like, we're losing. So that was Wall Street that did that to us. So let's blame Wall Street for that one. But let's say, what I wanted to say is, you guys need to know Donald Trump wants to put money in your hand when it comes to crypto. We got to give him props on that one, because, and that's another proof that, and you know what? Harris probably wants to also. She's probably agreement, but she's not letting us know what she's standing for. She's not letting us know her policies, where she wants to put money. One thing she said is she wants to do housing. She had 4 years and she did nothing on housing, y'all. And Barack Obama did. That was one of the first things he went after. It was two things. It was medical, which is the PPAC. Yeah, I know the actual real name for it. And housing. And then the third thing was the insurance. Well, anyway, those were the two things. Harris had an opportunity. She did nothing to reinstate what Barack. All she had to do, all her and Biden had to do was reinstate what Barack Obama had in place that Donald Trump took out when it was for housing. Well, Donald Trump and them tweaked it. And I'm just sad because I would like to see her become the president. It's just she didn't have certain shit together. She didn't do anything for 4 years, her or Biden. She could have pushed Biden. Well, Biden, I'm going to take it. These people need more housing support. And she didn't do anything. But now her election, she's claiming that she's going to do it. Well, why didn't you do it?
Yeah. One quick thing you were saying about her policies, we don't know what her policies were, but one interesting thing, it was 2.5 months or 3 months ago, Trump was doing a rally in Vegas, and he announced that no tax on tips. Okay, so that means if you're a waiter or waitress.
She agreed with that.
Hold on a minute.
After
hold
he
on,
did it.
hold on. I'm getting there. Okay. He said no tax on tips. That's Uber drivers, Lyft,
Everybody.
whatever these food delivery people
Universal.
are, caddies, you name it. I mean, I was like, oh my God, that's
That's great.
amazing. Now, I know Vegas because my mother lived in Vegas for 30 years. Vegas is a tip town because everything moves on tips. Casino people, taxis, every single person, cocktail waitresses. So tips is a great thing. And when Trump announced that, I said, that's it. Nevada is red. That's it. It's done. You know, and especially for Nevada. And yet that affects all of the 50 states. So I think that was a pretty incredible policy.
I would say.
Now, of course, so did Kamala because 2 months later, no tax on tips. That was the only policy that she said. Exactly the copy that she did what Trump did. And that's what I'm saying. Why hasn't she done that? Now, what did she do? They passed this other thing, 83,000 new IRS agents to go after the damn waitresses.
You know the issue I have? That's great what you're saying, and it's absolutely true. I'm in full agreement, and that is awesome what Trump is doing on that one. I'm just disappointed that with what Trump and that guy from the governor of Florida is doing with education. It's despicable. Like, we don't need to be lying about history, man. That's despicable what that guy in Florida is doing.
How are they
and
lying about history?
Trump should not support that. They don't want anything to be educated about the days of the 1800s with slavery and the industrial age.
I'm not very
they don't
familiar
want to
with
talk.
that. I haven't seen
anything
that.
that says anything that's African American, Black American, period. The guy down in Florida, he banned it, and then Mississippi adopted his strategy, and Trump is praising the guy. And this
I'll
is
have to research that because I have
you
not
should,
seen zero of
and
that.
it's disgusting. And then so basically they want to say, well, slavery never happened, and then they want to empower anybody. They banned all these books that are just simply talking about the history of what happened.
Well, I know they were banning books that they were talking about sex and things like that for children.
Now that is another thing. It's despicable and disgusting with Joe Biden, Harris, and Gavin Newsom and all these fucking liberals. You have no right to be shoving all that sex shit down children's minds. You have no right to go above parents and tell children that they can have sex change, man. You know how sick and crazy that is? Man, Kamala Harris supports that.
Walls passed a law. They're over there. They got tampons in boys' bathrooms. Can you explain that one to me?
They lost me, man.
Because I mean, I know if I was a young kid,
I'm not a Republican. I'm a
I'd be
political
throwing those
atheist.
tampons all over the place. I'd be.
I'd rather Trump be in the office, and we stop that shit. But I'll openly fight against that guy in Florida myself, legally. But and that book thing. Now we need to allow books in. Don't tell me slavery didn't happen, and don't try to dumb slavery down. Don't act like Black Americans didn't exist and Black Americans didn't work to build this country for over 300 years for free. Also, we deserve reparations. Yes, not talking about all Black people. I'm talking about just those of us that are of the genealogy of those specific people that suffered through slavery and Jim Crow. Not all Black people, just us. But when I weigh those, I don't want nobody shoving ahims into me. I don't want people shoving ahims into me. I don't want people trying to get a son and daughter of mine and tell the girl that she got to be a boy or try to be slick about it and tell the boy he got to be a girl and try to be slick about it.
And don't tell the parents.
Yeah, and then feeding them chemicals that's going to turn their genitals and their hormones into the other sex. Don't play with me like that. I'm not compromising. And in fact, I got a problem with you women and men that's supporting that. Straight up.
I agree.
And that's why we're supporting Trump in the way we are. Even me as a political atheist, I had to weigh it. And that right there is the killer for me.
And
That's
again,
a killer for me. And then
once you
letting
turn-
people over here, killers coming over here from these countries. Listen, something. You got these borders open, and have any of you people heard of Yellowstone? And have you heard of a domestic nuclear bomb? All it takes is a cartel member to find some immigrant that's gonna walk over and sneak over and say, we got a bag we want you to bring over. That immigrant is thinking, and we're gonna pay you all this, and we're gonna give all this money to your family over here, and we're gonna have you over here, and we're gonna hook you up with a job and a place to stay. And they think they're bringing over cocaine or something, or some cash. But really, some Chinese have connected with the cartels in Mexico and Colombia and told them we need this detonator taken over. So that immigrant think they're just bringing over some cocaine or something, they're taking a chance, but really they're bringing over a detonator for a domestic nuclear bomb. Another part of the immigrant is bringing over the other part of the bomb a month later. Another immigrant is bringing over, all of them just think they're bringing over some drugs or some pills or something for the cartel or some cash or bringing over some guns. But they're sneaking over bits and pieces of a domestic nuclear bomb. Or with how many of these people are sneaking over here, they're bringing over enough to put together 10 domestic nuclear bombs. And some of them are being shipped to Yellowstone, the most active surface level volcano on the planet here in the United States of America. And y'all think it's cool to bring them people over here illegally? You know what a nuclear bomb gonna do to downtown LA? Are you people crazy? You think China ain't doing that? You don't know what's here right now because of these crazy ass people, Republican and Democrat, that don't have a problem with the damn borders open. And now they're arming them people, giving them all kind of breaks and giving them all kind of free money. You guys don't know what war is. War is written all over me. I was born and raised in war. My whole family was the Crips and Bloods, from the LAs to the IEs, Gerson Parks in Las Vegas. War is written all over me. Don't get me telling you the war stories I've been through. And I'm telling you, we in serious danger with them borders being open. Don't worry about them Venezuela boys. Don't worry about them gangs. You remember who fathered you. You remember who told you. Y'all remember who fathered you on what the real dangers of that shit is that Kamala Harris and Governor Newsom and all of them is doing. And I'm not a Republican. I'm a political atheist. I agree with a gang of shit they do. I like how Kamala Harris is a focus on education and all that, but you trying to give all the Kamala, you trying to give all the money to illegal immigrants and immigrants only. Because you ain't going to give shit to black Americans that you claiming to be one of. Yeah, it's going on. I don't keep monopolizing the conversation.
The other thing that is coming in also is fentanyl. How many fentanyl deaths do we have?
Ooh. Now,
Okay,
that's
we
not
got
only,
hundreds.
that's immigrant also, not just from the south border. That's also being shipped here through the Vietnamese, Cambodian, and Chinese shipping right there in Long Beach. The Russians used to totally run the Long Beach Pier. That's the Asians are bringing that shit in wholesale right here in California and right there in New Jersey and in Philadelphia. They bringing that shit in Florida, but really on the East Coast and in California, the Asians is bringing that in.
Well, with an open border, it makes it even easier. They can just go ahead and bring it in, and that's hundreds of thousands of deaths every single year.
Man, it's going down. We're going to have to close this down. Y'all know this took a lot out of me to have out of my equipment and out of my electric bill to keep this going this long. I'm sorry. We're going to let him close it down. We're going to give a good 5-minute talk for him, and then we're going to close this down.
All right. First of all, I was going to say this is the first time that I've done this, 'cause I've never done this before. I'm not a professional or anything. I'm just a normal guy that really cares about this country, wants the best thing for this country, and that's why I agreed to go ahead and do it. And like I said, the only thing I ask you guys to do is look at the policies and decide for yourself. Don't look at the hate. Don't believe, oh, this, that. Look at the policies of both people, and you decide what's the best thing for your country, for your family. Not, like I said, because of just look at the policies. I have a lot of friends, and I ask them, you support Kamala? Why? What's the reason why? What's she done? I don't think I've had one that's been able to give me an answer. What has she done in the last 3.5 years, 1,375 days, or however many days it is? What has she done?
Hey,
Can you tell me one thing to do?
Vice President Doolittle becoming President Doolittle.
Well, that Doolittle, because she hasn't done
Doolittle
shit.
presidency.
That's right, because she hasn't done anything. So that's what I'm saying. We say, the first day I'm going to go ahead and do this. Well, why haven't you done it in 1,300 and something days? Get it done. I mean, even right now, why is she waiting, till January 20th or whatever it is to do it? Do it right now.
I want to say something. He's right. But I want to say something else. Get elections in the favor, the U-Haul, the Yahoo, and this is to you Trumpers too. Get that shit out your blood and out your head, out your consciousness, out your spirit, and become an administrative thinking person. Think like an administrator. Red tape. Get out of the hoopla. I'm more excited when I seen Kamala Harris and them thing than I seen Trump. In spirit, because I seen people I like, entertainers. I seen a lot of black people and Hispanics. It was all them fine, sexy Latinos and all those sexy, beautiful black women. I'm like, it's all them fine black white women out there. The women thing is big for me, right? But look, you couldn't break my mind. You couldn't get past my rational thought. You couldn't get past the truth and facts. That within a couple of years, a lot of y'all yahooing and a lot of y'all woo. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna be like, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have voted for Harris. Harris lied. She let us down and this and this. And I'm pretty sure some people will say that we're Trump. Remember, I'm a political atheist. But I'm gonna tell you, my rational mind weighs the options. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I have nobody to tell you to vote for. I'm a political atheist. I'm going to stand my ground about who I am. But don't fall for the party, because there ain't nothing we can suggest to you that'll help you. When you've drunk all that juice, and what do they call it when you get sick when you're drunk?
You get sick when you get drunk?
Yeah, what's that called? A hangover?
Oh, hangover, yeah.
Well, that political, economic hangover, y'all, that you're not going to be able to recover from it. Not this time, because we're in World War III.
And nor are you going to recover the damn prices. Prices are high enough now. Can you imagine 4 more years of this?
They're
You're
just
gonna
printing.
gas $10 a gallon of gas. I mean, now I went to, we have a burger place out here, Carl's Jr. They got some good burgers, and I didn't have a lot of money, so I said, you know what, let me just get a burger. Do you want the combo?
I think Wendy's is better.
Superstar with cheese is pretty damn good. But anyway, I get superstar with cheese, no fries, no nothing.
I don't eat meat, man. I was just playing.
All right. It was $11 for just a burger by itself. And first when I got the combo, I said, let me get the combo. And I haven't had onion rings in a long time. I have onion rings.
Oh, I love onion rings,
I do
bro.
too.
That's one of my
But he says,
favorites.
well, that's a surcharge for the onion rings. So
it's
another couple bucks.
Hey,
so it was
he's
almost
right, man.
$19 for a combo. I'm like, Mike, for
round
lunch?
table pizza, the onion rings are like $12, man.
It's insane.
Like, I'm like fucked up. I'm like,
Yeah.
You go to Dave and Buster's, you go in any joint, small place, the onion rings are, man, you go to a grocery store, onion rings.
Well,
Like, I can't even believe
anything.
it.
I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's wings. I don't care if it's whatever. Go to any restaurant at all. Anyone. I don't know is there a Norm's out here somewhere? No, yeah, there's a Norm's in
Is it
Ontario.
Norm's right up the
Ontario.
street? Yep.
Yeah. Norm's, I mean, used to be my go-to place years ago because they had like an $8.99 special.
Of course.
And man, they had the steak, the shrimp. They gave you
They had
soup,
chili too.
Soup,
Nobody
salad,
else was serving chili.
but they gave you both.
Right.
Soup, salad, this, that, and then sometimes they even got a dessert for like $8.99. It was amazing. Man, I went the other day. Oh,
Nah,
the
that's
steak
$25,
special.
bro.
Exactly. I was like, oh my
That's
God, what the
$30.
hell happened? And that's what I was saying. The McDonald's app still has a dollar menu, but guess what? There's nothing for $1 on the dollar menu.
But there's a problem, though, with this discussion. We're not going to neglect this, but we will be talking to you guys soon, and we're going to be more in depth. And there's an issue that we need to mention. Regardless whether it's the Republicans, the right wing, the liberals, and the Democrats, the United States has lost its position as the global currency powerhouse. Our dollar is no longer, and the petroleum dollar is dead too. That's another. So we're going through entropy, and being a political atheist, it helped me to realize, to see through all the competition and the polarization, to see this, that a lot of our economic problems we're having right now has nothing to do whether it was the right wings and the Republicans, Donald Trump, whether it was Biden, the Democrats. It got to do with the presidents before and the leadership, I say from the year 2000 back. They underestimated certain things, and yada yada, China and the Russians. It looked like the Russians were kaput when they weren't, and so I think that's how we ended up losing the power we have. And now BRICS is like balancing out that power globally, and I think that's part of why we're having the problems we're having. I'm gonna let them end with the last few minutes. Peace and blessings. You know who I am, David Dimitri, live in color. We do this. I usually don't talk politics like this, but I just needed to. It's that time.
In closing, the only thing I can go ahead and say, and I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody, we're all Americans. We all have the same goals that we want, which is going to be the best thing for our family and for our country. And like I said, yes, it's great to help out other countries and other people, but you need to take care of your home first. Okay? So there's a saying that sometimes I get a lot of crap for, and they say the best way to help poor people is don't join them. So in other words, your family, yourself are successful, you can help out other people. But first of all, you got to take care of is your family. And in this scheme, is we have to take care of our country first. We have a strong country, we can help a lot of other people. Okay? If we don't do it, we're going to become like all these other third world countries that these people are running away from, and they're going to come here and they're going to make this a third world country. So that's why we have to defend our way of life and everything we have. Yes, immigration is good, needs to be controlled, needs to be vetted. We need to know who's coming in. And it's not about Hispanic, Mexican, Venezuelan, this, because you got immigrants coming from the entire world. And it doesn't matter where it's from, but they all need to be vetted. So, yeah, I don't want to get into too much of that. We don't end on that, but exactly, we just need to know what's happening here. One interesting thing that Trump said, I know it's supposed to be a closing, that I like he said that any college students that are here studying college, that once they graduate to college, they should get the degree and they should get a green card. So if they want to stay here,
he's giving them something. He's creating something to make it merit.
Some of these people who are coming,
a merit-based path.
Yeah, so they're coming here, they're studying, and they're going back to China, they're going back to this and starting companies over there. Well, if we educated them, we did this, why should we kick them out? So, and that's again the same thing. We want the best people here for our country. You know what
all this is sounding like? It sounded like the liberals and Democrats are pushing us into a second civil war.
But that's what they want, and that's why I'm saying the hate is there. The hate should not be there. It's about the policies. It's about taking care of ourselves and not being dependent on the government.
Well, guess what?
They want us to be dependent on the government.
Oh, absolutely.
They want us to get free shit.
But that'll lead us to socialism.
That's exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want.
But you have to get to socialism, you got to go through a stage of communism. And I don't think they even realize that. They think it's just going to jump into socialism. They think it's going to jump into socialism
and
have some utopian.
They're doing a pretty damn good job of it so far.
So we can have a talk about universal. What is it called? Universal, not finance.
The interesting thing about this topic that we had today, there's so many things that we've talked about, and if we dug in and got into all these little details, I mean, because I kept writing notes.
We're going to do this talk afterwards, but thank y'all. Benevolence, it's love every time. Y'all know how to do it. I'm David Dimitri. Go to daviddimitri.com. Check with me. You know what I'm saying? You can message me if you want to come on the show. Not only that, because no matter where you are in the world, I can send you a link. You will be on the screen. But I only do that if you pre-communicate with me. I will bring you on the screen because you will be an official guest. Other than that, call in. This will not be the only time. It's going to be continual, and we will do it long, 1 hour, 2 hours, and it will be many guests. And I'm also going to be going live from other places. It's love every time, benevolence, And next time we'll be coming with different camera views, not just different guests. And remember, it ain't all about politics here. It's all about consciousness. So anything that the human mind can be conscious of, you can come in here and talk about your love for bugs. You can come here and talk about how you're drinking mushroom coffee and how you got off on. I have a couple of people from the Inland Empire Markets here in Rancho Cucamonga that are actually going to come on and talk about their health products and their health services. We have I have a chiropractor that's coming on. I have a coder, and I have a very genius gentleman coming on that is involved in hacking. Okay, so we got all levels, and I am not ready to deal with anyone that is involved in crime. I will be doing those criminal interviews, but not anytime soon, because that's involving myself with danger. I know I won't be doing anything illegal, but just interviewing people that want to talk about their life and how they used to be in crime and stuff, that can be dangerous. But if you do have books and you talk about that and I see that you're legit, I will let you on. If you are an entrepreneur, you just want to talk about your business and promote and talk about business, you are more than welcome coming on. And remember, we'll send you the link. You can come on. You could pre-send me the emails of all of your, I'll create a whole video commercial of you, what you provide. And so you can have commercial drops, everything. You know what I'm saying? And if you have a brand and you have a stream, come on, connect with me and we can do your stream. If you're looking for somebody to help you build your stream, I have a class, and I help mentor and help people to start their streams. So at the least pricey and least time and energy amount. Connect with me. I'm David Demetri, daviddemetri.com. Check out the pages. I do produce short films. Check out my film and my book. Go to the website. Go daviddemetri.com. You will see about the film, the book. You can communicate with me, and you can watch the film and get the book. It's on special request. Love every time. I'm David Demetri. Benevolence.